93.3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's the Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right?
We gotta run the ball.
We'll pass blocks, we'll run the ball.
Can we run it down?
Just play.
We run it down.
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay, so
we will. All right, we're going to call pass plays. Block.
With Kevin Bowen
Boom, baby.
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's the ninth play of the possession. It's already over 4 minutes. Wilson out of the gun. Ball's on the left hash. 3 receivers to the right. 1 goes left. Running back to his left. That's the boundary. Play clock is down to 0, but he gets it off. Wilson fires downfield to Tyler Lockett. Makes an over-the-shoulder grab for a touchdown. 1st and 10 inside the red zone at the 10-yard line, so 1st and goal. Wentz has time. Fires upfield to Zach Pascal into the end zone. Is it a catch? The signal on the field is a touchdown. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Zach Pascal. Yeah, take your pick right there on the Colts sack. Russell Wilson has been the most sacked quarterback since 2012. He's dancing in the pocket. Now he's going to heave it way downfield. He's got a man. That's Tyler Lockett in stride, over the shoulder grab, and he walks into the end zone for a touchdown. The Colts will wave the white flag, and that'll do it. Final score here at Lucas Oil Stadium.
End of the game.
In week number 1, it's the Seattle Seahawks knocking off the Colts 28-16.
Yeah, the white flag's been waved a few too many times in week 1 for the Indianapolis Colts over the last decade. I'm Kevin Bowen. Jimmy Cook in for 3 days this week? JCook, Monday, Tuesday, Friday?
3-day special, KB.
Love it. Jimmy Cook obviously produces the Dan Dockett Show, and he will be in. Eddie Garrison filling in for Mark Dykton. Eddie putting those clips together there right off the start. Obviously, not what anybody wanted inside of Lucas Oil Stadium on Sunday. Jeff Saturday is going to join us every single Monday in the football season. 8 o'clock hour with Jeff, and then we'll replay that again to close out the show. So always look forward to those conversations. And I guess fittingly, when the offensive line plays like that, it's probably a good day to have Jeff Saturday join us. As always, we'll take your phone calls, 317-239-1070, at KBowen1070 on Twitter, at the JCook as well. Congrats to your Chiefs, Jimmy. That was a hell of a comeback and very vintage Patrick Mahomes in the second half. But, boy, the 1 o'clock outing for the Colts, not good.
Well, I talked about this with you before we got on the air this morning, and that is I appreciate the congratulations to my Chiefs. They played awful for most of that game. Their defense struggled heavily, and the Colts defense in the 1 o'clock hour also struggled heavily. The main difference in terms of what is able to cover up mistakes on the defensive side of the ball is elite quarterback play. I mean, that's the reason the Chiefs won that game yesterday. Patrick Mahomes made some crazy plays, some turnovers went your way, and there you go. Chiefs 1-0. Colts side of things, man, Aaron Donald's coming in next week, KB. Like, the Seahawks, like, in terms of in the trenches, are nothing compared to what L.A. can do.
Yeah. Aaron Donald might watch the game film naked of the Colts and the Seahawks. I mean, literally. He might just be like, Leonard Floyd, come in the room with me.
No.
Everybody, like.
That's a private session for AD. Well, he just him first, and then, then the teammates.
Yeah, that NFC West looked pretty good yesterday. But that, I think, is probably what stands out the most, Jimmy, is I didn't expect the Colts to win on Sunday, and I think a lot of people, I was a bit of a head-scratcher that so many people I felt like were picking the Seahawks. If you showed me how Carson Wentz played yesterday, if you showed me how Rock Ya-Sin played yesterday, and you would have said the Colts got handled really for, I would say, the better portion of 60 minutes, Seattle really owned that game. That is what I think is so stunning to me is, and we'll get into Wentz's play and break him down a little bit later, but Carson Wentz gave you the type of football that should certainly keep you in the game, if not win that game, frankly. I mean, didn't turn the ball over, made some plays with his legs. I haven't seen a quarterback, frankly, get that violently hit in a Colts uniform really since Jacoby Brissett in 2017. I mean, that was, there were some times there late in the game where I'm like, you might want to throw the white flag a little bit earlier, just because an often injured quarterback who is getting up time and time again. I thought the offensive line was horrific. And then, like you said, the defensive performance. Like, when you if you go up to Frank Reich and you say, or Chris Ballard, and you go, what is your kind of core belief with your offense, with your football team? They're going to say the offensive line. They're going to say we've invested all these resources into that group. That's what we, pride ourselves on, this and that. Then you go to Matt Eberflus, and you say, what is your biggest belief defensively? It's we play the cover 2, we don't give up big plays, this and that. And those two areas, your biggest philosophical whatever on offense, the same thing on defense, you were utterly horrific. And you've waited 8 months, and your owner's stressed, the opener, this and that, and those two units look like that? Like, boy, someone check on Jim Irsay today.
Yeah, I mean, that probably wasn't a happy text message the second time go around, maybe, I don't think. And on top of all that, I mean, to your point, Seattle, whatever you want to say about them, I think they're going to be a solid team. They're in a very, very, very tough NFC West. That battle is going to be a lot of fun to watch throughout the entirety.
That division deserves multiple playoff berths.
No doubt. I think they will get that by the time it's all said and done. But when you look at the top tier of the AFC, they have the ability to beat you with one big play. Just like, I'm not saying that was the story of yesterday, but there were a lot of one big plays for Seattle, for a Colts team, like you said, prides themselves on being able to not give up that one big play.
Keep everything in front of them. You know, we will live with dink and dunk, and sooner or later, you're going to screw up.
And there were multiple instances of that failing on the Colts yesterday. And I'm not saying that it has to be the story for them all year. Clearly it doesn't, right? From all the losing quarterbacks that have been in this league for a minute yesterday in the press conferences, I'm echoing Aaron Rodgers here. It is just one game. But that is the top-tier competition that you're going to face to try to make a run if you want to make a run if you get in the postseason. That's the type of offensive scheme you're going to face.
Measuring stick.
Correct. And they failed to live up to that for most of last year, and that's what we saw with the first elite opponent on the schedule yesterday.
Yeah, you know, I think something I try to mention a lot leading into the season is so many people are acting like this Colts defense was elite last year or ready to crown them as going to be elite. And I'm like, whoa, can we pump the brakes a little bit? I can't tell you how many times I've said over the last year, the Colts played the easiest schedule in the NFL last season. You have to acknowledge that. When you look at the quarterbacks on that list, dear Lord, I mean, some of those quarterbacks, you're like, wait, what? They're really starting in an NFL game? And yet this year, you look at the schedule, much, much more difficult. And too often, when you play the elite quarterbacks, you've gotten absolutely shredded. And I think we all need to, put in perspective what the standard should be for this Colts defense. Oftentimes with my job, and certainly now doing the morning show on a permanent basis, you compare things to the Pacers. Colts, Pacers, Pacers, Colts, vice versa. I feel like with this Colts defense, it is almost similar to how we look at Miles Turner when Turner faces the elite big guys. Miles Turner wants to be considered one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Okay, when Embiid and Andre Drummond and Steven Adams and whoever else you classify as bigs, when they are on the other side of the court, they should not be having career nights. Career nights. Russell Wilson, unbelievable quarterback. First ballot Hall of Famer. The dude's played now 145 games in the NFL. Yesterday was the second highest passer rating of his career. Again, I'm not expecting a shutout against Russell Wilson. But I am expecting you not to give up the second highest passer rating of his entire career when it's a first, they have a new offensive coordinator. DK Metcalf was kind of in and out of the lineup during the first half. And you give up that to him when all this talk in the offseason is about you brought back all these guys on defense and Kwity Paye looks like this in training camp and this is going to be the good to great. And no, as much as the offensive line I think will get more attention today, let's not forget what the defense did in the first half. You're down 21. You give up 21 points on 4 drives. That set the tone. And now you're playing catch up and your offense right now is just not built for that.
He didn't look stressed. He didn't look like he was having to rush things. It looked like he was just having a game of catch in the backyard yesterday, KB. And that passer rating's insane. 152 point. I mean, that's
literally the second highest of his career. Russell Wilson's been in the league for a decade, man. It's not like he's a rookie, second-year player.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the second half, I guess from a moral standpoint, was better, but the tone was already set.
But dude,
it was done.
We need to stop going there with this defense of the second half was better. When you give up 21 points in one half of football, hell, I would hope the second half is better. And sure, in the third quarter, your defense gave the offense some chances, and we'll get into a couple of those fourth down plays that were critical. And I am not, if I'm laying blame, to me, this loss is clearly on two items, and then it's a big drop to wherever else you're going next. It's the defense and it's the offensive line. And sure, you can interject coaching in there, and I've talked about it endlessly how I don't think the Colts prepare themselves for openers in the way that they should. Like, go back to the spring. The Colts never even did offense-defense in the spring. So then you get to training camp. How do you don't ramp up the physicality a little bit more? How do you not play your frontline guys a little bit more in the preseason? To me, when you've lost 8 straight season openers, Jimmy, it's no longer a coincidence. And really, they've been, frankly, dominated in some of these season openers as well. It's not like they've been a bunch of, one possession game and, here you go. It's coming down to the wire. Like, Seattle handled you for 60 minutes yesterday. So there is definitely coaching to blame. I feel like the biggest sequence for me, Jimmy, yesterday was you give up that 2nd and 20, 69-yard bomb to Lockett that you heard Rick Venturi in the opener go, oh no. Like when that ball was in the air, that literally described, I think I uttered the same phrase in the press box as well, thinking, oh my gosh, 2nd and 20, 50 seconds to go in the half. That is a prayer of a Hail Mary. That, like, teams are going to go there. Like, Wilson's just thinking to himself, all right, we'll see what happens here. And if it's incomplete,
take a shot. We'll
run a screen on 3rd down and we'll go into halftime with the lead. And again, this defense, when you rush 4 on that play, it's not like the Colts, threw the house at them like they did on the first touchdown. They were very content. We're going to rush 4, play back, and next thing you go, Tyler Lockett's behind Kari Willis, and it is the bleep moment. And that is the absolute backbreaker. The Colts had a 3rd and 1 on the series before. Ryan Kelly gets whistled for legal man downfield. It goes to 3rd and 6. Wentz tries to throw the tough 50-50 ball to Mo Alley Cox. It falls incomplete. You give Seattle a chance late half, and your defense, their biggest belief, gets absolutely shredded. And that, to me, was, at that point, I thought the game was frankly over.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And as you mentioned, if you're going to rush 4, or if you're going to bring pressure like that, you have to get home. You have to get there. If you're going to be this elite group up front, or if you're going to be able to get high-quality pressure that's going to rank amongst the tops in the league, in order to neutralize that and not get beat, you have to take away the time that Russell Wilson has to get that pass off. And on top of that, I mean, an incredible catch, but in terms of the offensive line and the defense, if that's where your 2 weak points are going to be, you're not going to win many football games.
Not with how you're built.
No.
I mean, you are built for those 2 units to be your strength. And let's mention the O-line here. Like Julian Davenport giving up 2 sacks, that doesn't shock me. I thought inept coaching and not helping Davenport out. I mean, he was on an island on both those 3rd downs. It's like, I had this teacher back at Clay Junior High in the day that, whenever somebody would screw up in class or kid would act up, he would just say in this monotone voice, what did you think would happen? Like, I'm watching Julian Davenport yesterday on 3rd downs, and they're leaving him on an island. It's like, what did you think? What happened? Like,
it's a deep cut, but that was nice. That was good.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. Shout out to John Davis, a great tech teacher at Clay. But it's just like, where is the chip? Where is the little bit of help? Because Carson Wentz, you've got to play to his strengths. And yes, Carson Wentz holds on the ball a little bit longer than Phillip Rivers, certainly. But he needs to kind of do that in the pocket. Wentz is not going to be a quick rhythm guy. That's how you're going to go down the field. And again, Davenport, I put more on coaching. Like, I know what Julian Davenport looks like individually. But Ryan Kelly and Braden Smith? Whoa, I mean, Braden Smith on that 4th and 2 late in the game where Darrell Taylor is playing in his first NFL game, and he literally runs through Braden Smith like he'd run through you or me. Like, that is what is worrisome to me. It's the fact that this offensive line, with all these resources invested into it, and it wasn't just Davenport. It was one of the highest paid centers in the league and a guy in Braden Smith that you just gave, nearly $100 million to.
I want to ask Jeff Saturday about this at the top of next hour. And as you mentioned, with how just porous the offensive line was yesterday, it's great to have him with us to start a Monday. But how much of that do you think is lack of reps, lack of continuity? I mean,
I thought Braden Smith honestly had kind of a poor training camp. There are some times where I'm like, oh, wow, Kamoko Turi's coming off the edge on that right side of the line, whereas Kwity Paye is opposite him. So I didn't think that Braden Smith had a great training camp. And then you go to Ryan Kelly, and obviously he missed a chunk of time. And, You see the quarterback center exchange there late. I thought that was kind of Wentz just simply not getting a handle on it. It looked like Ryan Kelly put it exactly where it should have been as well. So, I think that's part of it. But again, the expectation, because it's not like we look at Seattle's D-line and think it's the Rams or it's Washington's D-line or, whoever you classify as some of the best defensive lines in football. I think that is what is particularly frustrating.
No, you're right. It's definitely not what you'd view as elite or top tier. But Dan, gave me smack about this throughout the offseason, as a number of different people did, because of how just horrendous that Super Bowl was for the Chiefs O-line. You don't have a left tackle right now, or a competent left tackle if you're the Colts, and you're clearly having issues along the offensive line, whatever you want to blame it on. Rust, lack of continuity, just a poor outing. When those pieces line up and you're able to get any type of significant holes through that O-line, it's going to be a rough day, which is why I'm even more impressed, take the fumble out of it, that Wentz was fine. I know we're going to dive into that deeper, but he didn't crumple because of that.
He looked better than I thought he'd look. And we'll hit on that a little bit later in the 7 o'clock hour. Paul, we see you on the phone line. We'll get to you as well. Again, phone line's going to be open 317-239-1070. Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook here on the Fan Morning Show. We want to hear from you about the Colts' season opening loss to the Seahawks yesterday. You're listening to the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Your Indianapolis Indians are home this week as they take on the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Enjoy discounted beers this Thursday, fireworks on Friday, and an 8-bit Indians hat giveaway on Saturday. Get your tickets today at IndyIndians.com.
IU football special pregame show is right here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan this Saturday at 11 a.m. with a 12 noon kickoff right down the dial at 93.1 WIBC.
Hey, it's AMV for the brand new CarX Tire and Auto at 455 East Northfield Drive in Brownsburg with a grand opening special including lifetime brakes for $109.99. CarX.com today.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. The housing market has slowed just a little bit, and now is the perfect time to make an offer and buy your next home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, we have loan programs for almost anyone, and you can buy a house with $0 down. Seriously, no money down to buy a home. Get pre-approved, and let's put you in the home of your dreams. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with the local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over. Plan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9 with it. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
Exmark makes the mowers that care for the lawns, that set the stage for the backyard life. As the commercial mowers more landscape pros trust, Exmark mowers get you on and off the lawn without compromising cut quality, comfort, or reliability. Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life. Check out end-of-season pricing on Exmark mowers and stand-on aerator rentals right now at Midstate Truck Equipment on Allisonville Road in Fishers. Midstate Truck Equipment, 800-540-4479.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Janet. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, we really help each other. If anything comes up, we work through it as a group, so we all learn.
As a full-time employee, she can also get paid benefits like medical, dental, vision, and parental leave. She even got a plaque for her desk that says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Yeah, you are, Janet.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Indy.
If you're a man aged 45 to 80 with a history of heart disease or stroke, please listen closely to this message. Some men with a history of heart disease or stroke also have low testosterone levels, also known as hypogonadism. Symptoms of low testosterone, hypogonadism, include decreased sexual desire, fatigue, depressed mood, and loss of body hair. If you've had a heart attack or stroke in the past and experienced the symptoms of low testosterone, hypogonadism, please consider our research study that is underway in Indianapolis. Qualified participants may receive testosterone replacement therapy or placebo and study-related care at no cost, as well as compensation for their time. Locations in Indianapolis, Franklin, and Greenfield. Please call now to speak with the research study coordinator. Dial 317-406-7900. The number again is 317-406-7900. That's 317-406-7900.
Our first plan to spice up the NFL season was to add man-eating tigers to the game. We lost a lot of great players that day, and that was my bad. Now I'm bringing you the Caesars Sportsbook app. It's got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesars rewards, people. It's even better than Tiger Ball.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. Call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
Of course, she needs a college education, but I don't want her buried in student loans for the rest of her life.
It starts here.
She needs a school with great resources, but some of these campuses are so big.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI has the resources of a big university on a campus with a hometown feel. It's a more affordable option with access to career paths in Indy's world-class healthcare and sports entertainment hospitality organizations.
At those big schools, I'm worried she'll just be a number.
Hey, it starts here.
Hey, why not IUPUI?
That's what I was thinking.
A tourism, event, and sport management degree fits detail-oriented individuals who like to call the shots in a fast-paced environment. Hands-on internships plus dedicated professors give the education and professional contacts needed to land an ideal job after graduating.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI. It starts here. Learn more at shhs.iupui.edu.
Diamonds Direct's most incredible offer ever is going on now. 5 years, 0 interest financing on any purchase with no money down. How about that $5,000 designer ring for less than $85 a month? It's smart, it's easy, it's unheard of. You can even finance 100% of the purchase price. How about a $3,000 pair of earrings, just $50 a month? Fine jewelry has never been more affordable. But hurry, this is a limited time offer. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct, Keystone at the Crossing.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hey, the Colts didn't have any injuries yesterday. If we're searching for positives, not a lot in a 28-16 loss to the Seahawks yesterday. 8th straight Week 1 loss for the Indianapolis Colts. No team in the NFL currently has such a streak. Afterwards, Frank Reich on his play of the offensive line, he wasn't as ready to rip them as others.
I'm not ready to just dump this thing and say the offensive line played bad, so forgive me for that, but I need to see the film. I understand what it looked like. I also understand there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not saying that they can't get better. I think we all can. So I'm just going to, I'll dive into the film and then we'll make a more full evaluation once we do that.
Frank, you aren't going to like the film. You aren't going to like the film with Braden Smith on 4th and 2, Ryan Kelly getting blown up, Julian Davenport looking like Julian Davenport, and for some reason leaving him on an island. Jimmy, I thought it was maybe the worst pass protection / the most I've seen a quarterback hit since Jacoby in 2017. Colts quarterback.
Colts division, yeah. No, I totally agree. And
I mean,
that's That's such a weird blanket that coaches hide under. I get it if it's a close game, but you're not going to throw your own guys under the bus. I understand that, but you're right. Nothing you're going to see on there is going to be like, man, they were wrong about that. I think there's some promising pieces from what the O-line did yesterday. No, I mean, it was dreadful.
Something to ask Jeff Saturday when he joins us at 8 o'clock is Frank and Carson were both pretty adamant that there were communication issues. So to your earlier point, does that get back to kind of Ryan and Kelly and Carson Wentz not practicing a whole lot together. The Colts put a lot on the quarterback's plate from a pass protection. But when I watched that game, I just saw guys getting their ass kicked. Just like one-on-one, guys getting worked. I didn't see a bunch of like free rushers or stunts that weren't picked up. I just frankly saw the Seahawks dominating the trenches.
My job yesterday was having to talk some friends that were Colts fans, off the ledge and trying to calm them down about where this season is going. I'm willing, at least from the O-line, to call it a write-off, to call it continuity, to call it still not having a consistent piece at left tackle, for there being, lack of reps for Quentin Nelson, for Ryan Kelly, whatever the case may be. I'm willing to give it a week. But if he's not happy today, we talked about it at the top. Aaron Donald's coming in next week, KB. It's going to be a feast unless something drastically big changes with terms of scheme-wise and what the Colts are doing in the trenches.
Yeah, naked Aaron Donald watching the film of the Colts yesterday. The Rams dominated the Bears last night, 34-14. The Colts will host the Rams at 1 o'clock on Sunday. NFC West undefeated after the Week 1. The NFC North, no one won a game. So, gotta love how the NFC is already shaping up. And the AFC South, we all had this. The Houston Texans are leading the division after Week 1. The Titans got rolled at home. Chandler Jones, absolutely dominant. 5 sacks. Taylor Lewan took to Twitter after the game to apologize for his performance.
If you followed my bet yesterday, I greatly apologize because it was as rough an outing as the Colts offensive line was. I was really high on the Jags, particularly in how bad the Texans were supposed to be. My goodness, was that awful.
I had a decent day. I had Miami, I had the Chargers. I think I did lose. Buffalo maybe is one of the ones I lost. Ravens -4.5 tonight. That's Monday Night Football against the Ravens.
By the way, I said Big Ben was going to fall off this year. I don't care that the Steelers won. I'm not wrong. He looked pedestrian yesterday as well. That's the kind of year I'm expecting.
He always
Big Ben.
does on the road, though. If you looked at his road splits last year.
I'm not basing it off one game. I'm basing it off of what I expect from him this season.
How about Eddie Garrison taking a little shot there at JCook early in the morning? Purdue rolled over UConn, 49-0. UConn, they should play Bishop Sycamore, I think, the rest of the season. So much for the coaching change. David Bell doing David Bell type things. Xander Horvath did suffer an injury, so something to watch there. But all of a sudden, Jimmy, you got Purdue Notre Dame on Saturday. With how our Irish looked, this is not going to be like pushover. What do you think? Maybe a touchdown favorite?
Yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. I expect Purdue to give the Irish a good run for their money here. Might even win the game outright. But, man, I know it was Toledo. How about Jack Coe, though, dislocating his finger, getting it popped back in, then throwing a touchdown pass, turning to be a game winner?
I'm glad a lot of people don't have Peacock because that was not a good performance at all by the Irish. Indiana rolls Idaho 56-14. Awesome crowd in Bloomington. I learned absolutely nothing about IU as a football team, but great crowd. And now all of a sudden, you've got the biggest game that stadium has seen in insert X amount of years with Cincinnati at noon on Saturday.
I don't know if the Hoosiers are going to pull the upset on Saturday, but I do know that I feel confident in 30-plus spreads now in the Tom Allen era. I didn't touch that game, and it never looked like that spread was really going to be in doubt. They were favored by 31.5 at close.
Yeah, Idaho, their Simon Fraser opponent week 1 didn't really get them ready for the Big Ten. How about the Ducks? They go into the Horseshoe, a big win for the Pac-12, and honestly, that's just a good win for college football. Like we need more teams not named Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson winning marquee games. Down a couple defensive starters. Oregon is a double-digit underdog. Shout out to Mark Dykton. He predicted that on Friday. They beat the Buckeyes. Arkansas just dominates Texas and then had a field day on social media afterwards, which I absolutely loved. Stanford beats USC 42-13 in the Coliseum as 17.5-point underdogs. So not a ton of marquee matchups. Iowa beating Iowa State. They look right now like a legit, I don't know what, top 5 team, top 7 team after their first 2 weeks of the season.
C.J. Stroud might be the worst Ohio State quarterback that they've had in about 5 to 10 years. On top of that, massive win for Oregon. Anytime you mentioned, in terms of what it does for college football, and I'm also glad I did not stay up for Pac-12 after dark. I was watching Yankees Mets going into that, and I was like, I'm going to bed.
I'm still sorry for that.
How many home runs for Lindor?
Oh, no, this was 2 nights ago. Last night I blocked that out of my mind. 3 home runs. Don't talk about it.
3 homers for Lindor.
Thanks,
last night. Some high school football. Center Grove pulled away from Ben Davis. Carmel pulled away from Pike as well. HSC rolled Fishers in a matchup of undefeateds, 42-13. My Irish dominate Chittard.
I was on the call for that one, KB.
You were?
Yeah, I was.
Love
Irish looked good.
Sounded like the game wasn't very close.
No, it was
frankly.
not. Nice corner over committed on like a pass to the sideline, first play of the game, took it like 80 yards, almost scored, and they scored the next play. It was over from there.
Yeah, the route was on. That rivalry not living up to it. LN over North Central 33-7. Westfield over Noblesville 42-15. Jimmy mentioned the Yankees and Mets, some fireworks last night there. Lindor, 3 homers. All of a sudden, the Mets are 3 back in the NL wild card. I'm like, how did this happen? Well, how does it happen? The Padres and the Reds suck right now. Jimmy, our Reds have lost 7 straight series? 6 straight series?
I'm Eddie, by the way.
Eddie.
They're not my Reds.
And I think it's 7.
God, yeah. Just an abysmal performance. The only saving grace is the schedule. And now all of a sudden the Padres have, 4 more against... They got swept by the Dodgers. Now they go Giants, Cardinals, Giants, I believe, the next 3 series.
Yeah, that was a lot of chatter, and again, this is coming from a Yankees fan. A lot of chatter between 2 teams. They're going to be sitting at home in October, so that's nice.
Yeah. Good. Blue Jays put up 22 on the Orioles. Nice to see if Toronto ever gets an NFL
Man,
team.
Offense must be fun. I wish I had a team that could produce like that. It's nice.
Ask Eddie and I about that, because we certainly don't have it. Alex Palou, a statement out in Portland yesterday. 3 races to go. The IndyCar Series, now 2. That he wins yesterday in Portland. Scott Dixon 3rd, Alexander Rossi 2nd, Pato Award 14th. So Palou retakes the points lead there. Novak Djokovic cannot complete the Grand Slam. Is it Daniil Medvedev? Am I saying that right?
Last name's definitely right.
Yeah, okay. You guys are looking at me like, yeah, just keep on going. 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. So the historic year for Djokovic does not include the single season Grand Slam.
I think Mr. Medvedev's fine. I think that works.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. M.
Just add that to it. He's good.
We can just go with that. Paul, Colin, we'll see you guys on the phone lines, 317-239-1070. We'll get back into the Colts conversation, talk about the performance of Carson Wentz, and hear from you guys, the listeners, at KBowen1070 on Twitter, at JCook Sports.
At the JCook, you're combining mine and BK's Twitter, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Additionally, Colts fans, 317-239-1070. I want to know where your expectations were for this team going into week 1 and where they are now, because I had them at 8-9. Inadvertently, Dan did one of those things where he gave me the games in a row. I wasn't tracking what I was saying.
You went 8-9?
And I realized it was 8-9. I started 10-7. And then on Friday, I was 8-9.
You look good coming out of Sunday's performance. Again, Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook, Eddie Garrison here. Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Go trackside with Kurt Cabin and Kevin Lee. Tomorrow night at 7 on The Fan.
Sign up today at BetMGM and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. The King of Sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either the Ravens or Raiders, and if either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use bonus code TheFan200, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy football like never before with the BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com, and again, that's bonus code FAN200, all one word, capital T, capital F, to win $200 in free bets if either the Ravens or Raiders score a touchdown. Nothing beats a W at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Indiana only, must be 21 or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Fall in Indy, and for 20 years, Rhino Shield's been covering your neighbor's homes like your neighbor Rich.
Aluminum siding built in 1961. It also had a lot of stains, and it was white, and we wanted to change the color.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
We're told that it's hard to paint aluminum siding and get a good adhesion with regular paint, so Rhino Shield was great.
You too can help Rhino Shield celebrate 20 years of covering Indiana homes for 20% off the regular price.
They came on a Saturday and power washed everything all around the house. And then they came back and did all the work on Monday and Tuesday. And in 2 full days, they worked on a Monday and were completely done by Tuesday.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It was Butler homecoming this weekend. I was tempted to go over there and talk to Brendan King's frat boys about real life. I'm talking about the savings you can make when refinancing with Golden Oak Lending. Yes, that is their goal. At Golden Oak Lending, they speak mortgage and love translating it for customers. With rates this low, now is the time to see what experienced local loan officers can translate for you. Even if you refinance as recently as last year, Golden Oak might be able to lower your interest rate even further and help you discover any untapped equity in your home. Right now, home values are high, and their rates are historically low at 2.25%, but it won't be like this forever. Find out how much you can save with Zipline, Golden Oak's lending and easy online mortgage tool. The average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. You can skip 2 mortgage payments, and with Golden Oak's appraisal guarantee, you never pay for an appraisal up front. And if they can't close a loan for any reason, the appraisal is no charge. So no matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Apply from the comfort of your home with their speedy Zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com. NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hi, we're OfferPad, the new way homes are sold. Go to OfferPad.com, tell us about your home, and we'll send you a great cash offer. Or, if that's not your style, we can also list your home with tons of free OfferPad services, free handyman fixes, house cleaning, yard work, and more to get your home show ready. We can even advance renovation costs to maximize your home's value. Whatever way you want to sell, you're sold with OfferPad. Sell your way today at OfferPad.com. Terms and conditions apply. Real estate brokerage and services provided by OfferPad Brokerage LLC. Equal housing opportunity.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Official sponsor of IU Athletics.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3 cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
Your friends are hosting an online viewing party to watch a soccer match. But if your slow upload speeds were to make you sound like an evil robot...
Pass the ball! Pass the ball!
Whoa, who is that?
I'm sorry.
You're not an evil robot. You just need better internet. AT&T Fiber delivers a faster internet experience with 25 times faster upload speeds than cable. Visit att.com/25 times faster.
Limited availability in select areas based on Internet 1000 wired upload connection speed versus major cable providers. 1 gig service with uploads of 35 megabits per second. Restrictions apply.
USA Today Sports Plus is the new sports app that puts fans first. While others are at the press conference, they're in the locker room with more reporters in more cities than any other news outlet. Get the latest scores, stats, and standings and enjoy interactive experiences as well as group chats with their award-winning sports writers. If you're a fan of football, you need USA Today Sports Plus for this upcoming season. Download it from the Apple or Google Play stores today. USA Today Sports Plus. Fan harder.
Baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love. So take a look what you've done. Cause baby, now we got bad blood.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Yeah, an awful performance by the Colts yesterday. Kevin Bowen, JCook in on the Fan Morning Show. JCook will be with us again tomorrow and Friday as well. So, are you double dipping with Dan, producing Dan's show, or are they giving you that off while we're
the fine folks here at MS Worldwide are giving me a little time off.
Big time.
So
nice.
Nice.
Well, appreciate you joining us here.
Happy to be here.
A lot of calls to get to, 317-239-1070. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Jimmy mentioned before the break just expectations for Carson Wentz specifically, but obviously team-wise as well. Let's get to Paul here. Morning, Paul.
How you guys doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm all right. First of all, I'm going to put this on the coaches. And the reason being, you're down 11 points. Frank Reich goes for it on fourth down in field goal range twice. The defense in the second half was playing good. You got to come out of there with at least some points. You're 2 score down, get a field goal. The defense was motivated, but when you don't get a field goal or any points at all, they come back on the field and they're like, you know what the heck? Secondly, Eberflus. Why would you have Corey Willis on one of the best slot receivers in the game? No, you don't do that. Corey Willis is too slow. You cannot put him on a slot receiver and expect him to stay with him. You got to adjust that. And lastly, you watch film on the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams will do the same thing. Play action with the bootleg the quarterback out. Mohammed every time went right down the line and left that rollout open. You cannot do that against Seattle. You're not going to be able to do that against Los Angeles Rams if you expect to get a win. The defensive end has to stay at home, go up the field, and wait for the rollout. Then if it's not a rollout, chase the play down from behind. But I put this one on the coaching staff. And the continuity was not there because none of the players played in the preseason. This is all on the coaching staff. And you're right. When Frank Reich sees that film, the tape of the game, he's going to be like, this offensive line was horrible. So he's going to have to throw some people under the bus and make them accountable because right now, him and Eberflus are accountable for this loss.
Thank you, Paul.
There you go, Paul.
I love that. Boy, I agree with so much of that, Jimmy. A lot to unpack there. Certainly containing Russell Wilson was an issue on the edge. And if you watched the Rams last night, boy, I hope you didn't because you aren't going to feel great about Sunday's performance or Sunday's outing coming up here in week 2. Let's go back to the 4th and 2. I think I'm a little bit in the minority here with that, Jimmy. 10 minutes to go in the game. You're facing a 4th and 2, certainly in very manageable field goal range, and you're down, what was it at that point? 21-10. 21-10, okay. Thank you, Eddie. I was good with them going for it. On your I fully realize you need 2 scores to, get back in the game. I believe at that point, you had gone 5 straight drives, Jimmy, with 1 first down. It was like 3-and-out galore in there. You obviously have to score a touchdown at some point. There's only 10 minutes to go in the game. You're going to have to pick up a 4th and 2 then, or you're going to have to pick up a 4th and whatever at some point in the game. Like, that's just, this offense yesterday, I think lacked the big play ability that I thought would be a little bit more there with Carson Wentz at quarterback. Again, I thought Wentz was fine, but there were no big plays yesterday. You had Campbell that one time, but nothing vertically down the field. The 4th and 2 issue was just more on Braden Smith getting his ass kicked, and Carson Wentz, maybe he had Pittman. If you go back and watch it, he could have dumped it to Hines, I felt like, and maybe, but Braden Smith just got absolutely annihilated on that play, and it never had a chance to work. I would have liked to seen Taylor in the backfield with Hines as well. That was not seen at all yesterday. I don't have an issue with the 4th and 2. More so it comes down to poor execution and then play calling.
The 2 games that did not get the red zone treatment to me yesterday, which means that I'm not just kind of casually perusing it, were Colts, Seahawks, Chiefs, Browns. If you want to be at that tier, sometimes you have to take chances, and I'm with you. You're going to have to get the points eventually.
You're down 11 with 10 minutes to go. Like, at some point, you got to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And you're at what yard line? I mean, 20, I don't know, somewhere around there. And your offense can't move it.
Exactly. I did not see enough, whether it's protection or just the Colts offense as a whole, I did not see enough yesterday to warrant any more faith of them scoring 6 later than right there.
Yeah, same. That's exactly where I lie with that. And the QB sneak earlier, I mean, that's a lot of that's just on Carson. I felt like Ryan Kelly put it where he needed to be. And to Paul's point about coaching, like, Jimmy, and I felt like I've tried to do a good job of this, but I think we all need to do a better job of this. Especially some of my colleagues. Jim Irsay just handed Frank Reich and Chris Ballard incredible contract extensions. Like, if your Kansas City Chiefs would have got those contract extensions, you're like, no, duh. They've been in the Super Bowl, insert their resumes here. Frank Reich and Chris Ballard haven't done that. They haven't sniffed that. So we have to hold them to a standard of you need to be elite. And yesterday, when you look at that loss, inept roster construction at left tackle certainly played into that. And then, like Paul said, Matt Eberflus and Frank Reich. A lot of that is on your coaching staff. When your defense prides itself on not giving up the big plays and you give up that, yes, there is major blame for this coaching staff and just the continued lack of preparedness in season openers.
Yeah, and that's over. What? How many regimes is that now?
It is.
I'm not absolving them of blame, but
you lost the 1-15 Jags last year in the opener, and I felt like
this regime has had enough of those where
Seattle controlled yesterday as well. We'll continue to take callers. Let's go to Colin on line 2. Colin, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
Hey, good morning. I kind of wanted to talk about what Paul did with the going for it on fourth down. I wanted to ask you guys about that, but you guys already answered that. The other thing I wanted to ask was, how out-coached can the Colts get? Down in the red zone, DK Metcalf going up against Kenny Moore in the red zone. How can you let that happen? Just from every phase, offense, defense, they had the good drive to open up the game, the Colts did, but then Seattle made an adjustment, and they didn't get anything going the rest of the game. I didn't understand how stuff like that can happen at an NFL level where you got somebody like DK Metcalf going against somebody who's half his size and Kenny Moore in the red zone.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that. To Paul's earlier point and Colin's there, the whole Kari Willis on Tyler Lockett thing, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more kind of, good on good recognition there. Like if you're going to bring the house, and the Colts brought the house in that first touchdown, they brought 7 straight man across the board. Why isn't Kenny Moore on Tyler Lockett in the slot there? And honestly, Kari Willis is probably better suited to try and, jam DK Metcalf at the line of scrimmage. But when you bring 7, if you're not getting home with 7, Russell Wilson's too good of a quarterback. He's going to make you pay. And that was a filthy throw and obviously a great catch by Lockett. But red zone continues to be a struggle for the Colts. It wasn't as a struggle as much last year defensively. It's mainly been offensively, but yesterday we saw it again. Offensively, you weren't able to finish off drives, and Seattle scored 4 times, 4 touchdowns. You scored, 3 times, and you settled for a field goal there, and I think we're 2 of 4 in the red zone. You had 2, what really I think should bother Frank Reich, Jimmy, is you had 2 14-play drives yesterday that combined for 3 points. Like, it comes back to the no team in the NFL is good enough to sustain 14-play drives and think that they're going to finish that off with touchdowns. When you're playing a defense like Seattle, sooner or later, they're going to make a play. You have got to hit on some sort of big play. Seattle has 4 touchdowns yesterday. None of their drives were double-digit plays. They were able to hit on the chunks. You weren't.
And that is why and I understand fans want to grasp it because it's an easy metric of football to understand, and it makes you feel like, all right, I get this. I've mastered this to a T. Time of possession does not matter, okay? It's a narrative-based stat. What really matters is how you value those possessions and what you do with the football. And if you're not going to come away with, what 3 points, right? What you said?
Yeah.
If you're not going to come away
on the 2 14
if you're not going to come away with more than 3 points on those type of drives, you saw what elite level offenses are able to do. Get massive chunk plays, score like that, and then it's not a matter of winning time of possession. It's, we're down now, and there's more time off the clock than there was when we first got possession of that drive. It's just, you have to execute if you're going to have long, methodical drives like that.
Let's go to John. John, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
Good morning, gentlemen. I agree with Paul. First of all, Kevin, I agree with you on the 4th and I had no problem with it. You're right. At some point, you're going to have to go for it convert a 4th and 2.
Yeah,
so I didn't have a problem.
Braden Smith just got his ass kicked.
Exactly. And one thing that I thought that a coaching staff did not do was adjust appropriately. I'd rather give up a 20-yard pass play than a 80-yard touchdown pass. And I think that they could have kept their safeties back and then had them come up. And I'd rather give up those chunk plays and then tighten up, because I don't think that the defense did horribly. I thought that they were just fundamentally poor. I don't think that they played badly. And the other thing is, I thought Carson Wentz did a great job of finding the outlets when he was under pressure, which was most of the game. And those turned into some pretty good plays, 7, 8, 9 yard plays. I thought Jonathan Taylor was more influential in the pass game than he was in the run game, and I don't think he did a bad job in the run game, considering. So I'll shut up and let you guys talk.
Thanks, as always, John, for calling in. Jimmy, what did you think of Wentz yesterday? The numbers on him, and I know he kind of backdoored some of these numbers, but 25 of 38 for 251 and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Was credited with that fumble on the QB sneak.
He was fine to mediocre, and that's about where my bar was for him. And that is why Carson Wentz, at least what Colts fans hope they would get, is this great pairing of former offensive coordinator to former starting quarterback when he had his best year of his career, and you hope it's a magic situation, because if it's not going to work for Carson Wentz here, it's not going to work for him anywhere in the National Football League. This is his last stand for his career. That being said, my bar for him was fine to mediocre, and that's why I'm so curious, again, 317-239-1070, where your bar was for Carson Wentz going into this game, expectations for him going into this game, what you want to see from him throughout, where those expectations are one game in now. But the bar was so low that it is not enough to cover up the glaring issues that were present from the O-line yesterday and the dreadful performance from the defense. I mentioned earlier, I get it. I know I'm a Chiefs fan, but it's easy to relate because I watched a similar, just dreadful performance.
You're in fantasy land, man.
I know I am, but my quarterback is top tier in the NFL. And I'm not saying Wentz has to be that.
Your quarterback. Whoa,
yeah, but that's how that, I know it's strong, but
he is on his fantasy team that's beating you too.
He is. That's
easy,
true. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. He's still got Lamar Jackson today. But my point is that Chiefs defense was dreadful yesterday, much like the Colts. And the difference was you had a quarterback that could save it. That's not Wentz's fault. They lost yesterday, but he was fine. And that's not good enough to overcome the glaring issues that were present on both sides of the ball.
Man, we're going to have Jeff Saturday on in about 10 minutes here, and we'll get his thoughts on this. But to me, Wentz, I did not expect him to even be fine along your standards.
Some people had it worse, yeah.
I thought he was better than what you're giving him credit for because, as John said, the run game was not there. It was one of the worst offensive line performances I've seen from the Colts in years. And Carson Wentz, it looked like Jacoby in 2017 with some of those hits that he continued to take throughout the game. I go back to what I said a little bit earlier. I felt like just in general, you didn't hit on enough big plays. And I feel like Frank Reich was a little bit too, I don't want to put much on Carson's plate and challenge things vertically. And I felt like there was a point in time in the game, late first half, you just give up that score to Seattle. They go up whatever it was, 21-10, I think it was. At that point of the game, they get the ball to start the third quarter. You need to go and have a sense of urgency on that final drive of the first half. I don't care if you think you need to have kid gloves on your starting quarterback. You're playing the Seattle Seahawks. You are not winning that football game with kid gloves on Carson Wentz. At one point, I swear half his completions were screens. It's like, what are we doing here? I get Seattle is aggressive, but you have got to take some chances down the field. And again, I put more of that on Reich. And yes, your offensive line wasn't great for long stretches. But all in all, Wentz going 250, 2 touchdowns. He doesn't throw a pick. I think you got to come away, considering the amount of time that he missed, I think you got to come away pleased with how he looked. And I know it's something that you and I talked about a little bit earlier. If that's the floor for Carson Wentz, you've got to be encouraged by that.
On that last drive before the half, though, did you think they were going to do anything else but what they did?
No, but that's not.
They should.
That's not the mindset that you can have.
Right.
You have to realize
I agree with you.
You're down 2 scores. Seattle gets the ball to start the third quarter. If your defense didn't put up the great third quarter that they had, you wouldn't have gotten back in that game.
But my point with that is, because KB, and I think everybody that listens to this show knows this, you study more about the Colts in terms of people in this market than probably anybody, or arguably anybody. If you, like I, knew what was going to happen there and weren't surprised with what happened, that is the identity of what this coaching staff is. I mean, that did surprise me one bit. I was like, all right, yep, that's about what I expect.
Which is weird because isn't Reich uber aggressive?
Yeah.
But it was like he treated Carson a little bit too protective yesterday in that. Tracy, Pat, James, we see you guys still on the line. We'll get to you here in a bit. Jeff Saturday is going to join us via More Restoration when we come back here on the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook, and Eddie Garrison.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. As our troops are coming home, every business should be finding ways to thank and honor them for their service. We created the Hero Loan. HeroLoan.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
Owning a business comes with pressure. There's a limit to what I can do and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30-plus years of HR experience to work to help me with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance, while giving my employees competitive benefit options. And because I'm able to focus on other priorities, my employees can thrive and my business can grow. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
The most important financial decision you'll make isn't picking the next hot stock or fund manager. It's choosing the right financial advisor. How do you pick the advisor that's right for you? Find out in a special encore presentation of our virtual event with Rick Edelman, tomorrow, September 14th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. It's free. Register at EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. You'll get advice on how to select the right financial advisor, and you'll get a list of the 11 questions to ask before hiring one. Take this list with you when you interview financial advisors, and if you already have one, use the checklist to evaluate if they are right for you. You will get all the information you need, and Rick will make it fun and entertaining. It's free, so register right now for a special encore presentation of our virtual event tomorrow at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. Register at EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. That's EdelmanFinancialEngines.com.
How real do I give it? So real. How real do I give it? So real. So real that Caesars will give you some authentic NFL gear when you bet $100 in September. So download the app and get live in-game betting, parlays, Caesars rewards, and some authentic NFL gear. I'm an official sponsor of the NFL, people!
Must be 21. Offer valid in Indiana only and for new and existing users who opt into this offer. Jersey awarded as a gift card. Options may vary. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On-Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On-Site. Call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On-Site company.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at Regions.com/Greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
At Kroger, fresh groceries are our thing, so we check your delivery order for freshness at every step from farm to store and pick and pack every veggie in your free pickup order with care, because we treat your food the way we'd want ours to be treated. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
Get more ways to save at the Buy 5 or More Save $1 each sale. Just buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is the present? Well, it's the perfect time to call Golden Oak to find out how much money you can save.
Who are you? I'm future you.
And I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Home values are up, which means you have more equity than you think. A refinance now could be the best gift you could give your future self.
Thanks, me.
At Golden Oak, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. With a cash-out refi, you could finish a home project, pay off credit cards, or even consolidate bills. The present is a gift, especially if it comes with extra cash in your pocket. So take advantage of our low 2.25% rate. Visit goldenoaklending.com today.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Fisher's travels to Brownsburg on Friday Night Football. The action begins at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan. It's the Fan Morning Show.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
With Kevin Bowen.
Watch it.
On 93.5 and 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
It's Kevin Bowen and Jimmy Cook on the Fan Morning Show. Thanks for tuning in on this Overreaction Monday. It was a pitiful performance by the Colts yesterday, losing 28-16 to the Seattle Seahawks. And like we have for the past few years, and will continue, courtesy of More Restoration. Now, first on site, new names, same great people. Jeff Saturday, the Colts great, joins us now on the Payless Liquors hotline. Jeff, as a former offensive lineman, I am going to assume you might have had a few choice words watching that game yesterday.
Yeah, definitely not a pretty one. Not the way you want to come out of the gates, right? Kind of stumbling around yourself. And, listen, man, football is situational. And in the moments where our O-line needed to step up and play their best, we did not. We didn't convert on 3rd and 3. We didn't convert on 4th and 1. You just when you have opportunities to make plays and you don't do them, and that's considered the strength of your team. That's problems. And so I know they'll go back to the drawing board and figure this thing out, but definitely not one of the better performances from our guys.
Jeff, it's Jimmy. How much of that, in terms of the O-line, would you credit to lack of reps, lack of quality minutes within the preseason?
A lot. I mean, listen, and here's a guy. I'm a guy. I mean, I was not a huge fan of preseason. Don't get me wrong, but when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about preseason games. The issue for us was it wasn't just not playing in preseason games. There's no practice reps. You know what I mean? You had Ryan being out with his injury, then Q with his injury, right? And so you don't get any timing. Then we kind of got a rotating carousel at left tackle during camp, and so. It just did not look oiled. And I think people don't realize how important reps are for offensive linemen. No different than Wentz and the other receivers and why their timing. And it looked like he was hesitating at times because they're just, they're not accustomed to being with each other. Well, offensive line are the same way. When there's games and when there's different things happening on the outside, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to pass them off. And we just did not do that in that area of the game.
It's Jeff Saturday here on the Fan Morning Show. He'll be with us all season long, Monday's recap and Colts games. And Jeff, I want to hit a little bit more kind of the nitty-gritty of the O-line, the pass protection. Frank Reich mentioned after the game yesterday, and Carson even said this as well, that he felt like it was a little bit more of miscommunication and not just the O-line losing a bunch of one-on-one battles. From my amateur eye, I'd probably disagree with that. But I guess how much for you guys was it on you or Peyton handling pass protection calls versus I feel like with Reich, it's really squarely on the quarterback who is handling all of that at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so there's a blend, right? And I think so. Again, I think this goes back when you're talking about communication. I agree with you. Like Smith got trucked on the 4th down. I think we were inside in the 4th quarter. I believe we were inside there. Maybe they're 20 or something, and he got beat one-on-one. Davenport got beat a few times. So I'm with you. I'm not sure I buy in all the way on the communication part. Like we had some one-on-ones that got ugly. Glow, I know, had one on the inside. There was a lot. I mean, let's be honest. None of the 5 played well, and they'll admit that. But the communication part, I think, for me, goes really to the position of quarterback and center. So Peyton always knew what the calls were going to be. But I knew what he wanted, right? So we had spent so much time pre-game throughout the week, the days leading up, that when I walked to the line of scrimmage, if we had a certain protection, there wouldn't be a need for a new mic because I would make the mic the guy that I knew he wanted anyway. So even if it wasn't positionally who we would normally make a Mike, if it had to be the Will or the Sam, or there was a walk down safety, some guy like Adams who we had to keep, or, from yesterday, or Palomalu in my day with Pittsburgh, you would find a guy. That's the communication that I think you missed in preseason, right? With Wentz being out and Q being out and Kelly being out. Man, there's a lot that goes into that. And I think, again, when you talk about communication, it should not be all on the quarterback. He's got enough going on, safety rotation, guys moving around. Like, the center has to be able to get that communicated to the guards and then out from there. It should not be that difficult. It wasn't like what Seattle did was a super confusing, oh my word, give you all kinds of headaches. It was pretty straightforward. And so the communication part, though, has to be worked on just because they haven't spent time together. And listen, as much as it helps to be in a classroom, it also needs to be some field reps, man, where you see it, call it, and then trust your center. He's going to get you in the right call, or that your quarterback's going to new Mike you for a good reason, and you're all going to sail from there. But, yeah, yesterday was not clean as you would want it from either position, quarterback nor offensive line in the protection area.
Last thing O-line from me, Jeff, was how much, and again, I think you'd be the first to admit you weren't blocking for Michael Vick back there in your time here in Indy, but how much is it like the Colts are realizing, oh, wow, it's not Phillip Rivers confined in the pocket, boom, 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 he's getting it out super quick. Like, Wentz does hold on to it a little bit longer. Does that play into anything up front?
Absolutely, 100%. Listen, it was an adjustment for me when I went to Green Bay. We with Aaron, it was not the same as Peyton, right? It wasn't just timing. There were a ton of opportunities where they actually wanted you to get into the scramble drill. I remember Mike McCarthy, we would practice scramble drill like in a period of practice, which means, you would snap the ball and the play for you, even though you're blocking, he would blow another horn, and that would tell you you're about to block for another 4 seconds. That was kind of, and in that 4 seconds, that's when Aaron was scrambling around and going to make plays. So there's definitely an adjustment from, guys who want to get around or move out of the pocket as opposed to get the ball out on time. But listen, that being said, we also knew there's also a method to the madness. It's not like you just go crazy and start moving around as a quarterback. Like, there are certain plays where he's going to move more to his right or move more to his left, right in his role, because that's where it's going to buy him time and where the receivers are going to be. So you still had some idea which direction you would think he would be going, but there's definitely a different process when you have guys who want to get outside the pocket as opposed to just delivering the ball on time.
Jeff Saturday joining us here on the Fan Morning Show. You can follow him on Twitter at SaturdayJeff. Jeff, my last question on the O-line to kind of piggyback off what KB was going after there, but focusing on the left tackle. This O-line isn't viewed as porous as, let's say, the Chiefs was a year ago in the Super Bowl, in shambles without Eric Fisher. How much will his eventual return help things, or will you be dealing with continuity issues since he's still trying to familiarize himself with real game action for the first time in 8 to 10 months?
No, I think he'll be a huge upgrade. Listen, just from a one-on-one perspective. To y'all's point, it's not all communication. Listen, I watched the tape again this morning. Now there's some one-on-ones we're missing. We're losing. Our pad level's high. We're getting pushed. You saw Smith get, who is a very good player and a very strong player, and he gets run over. And quarterback's got, I don't care how good you are, the quarterback's got no chance. I think Fisher being over there, just understanding pass sets, feeling more comfortable about running a guy around the rail, sitting on his inside. He's played a lot of football. And so I think his margin for error will be higher just because he's been at that position. He understands what the battle looks like out there. And with he and Q playing side by side, I think it'll be a quick kind of adaptation in, or he'll find his way pretty quickly. So I don't think there'll be a ton of communication issues because he played with a similar quarterback, obviously, in Kansas City with the movement of Patrick Mahomes. He'll backpedal, dude, 15 yards and then let it rip or get outside the pocket. So I think for Fisher, it will be an upgrade for us for sure.
Courtesy of More Restorations, Jeff Saturday here on the Fan Morning Show. Jeff, thoughts on Carson Wentz, considering all the time he missed training camp, preseason, of course, his Colts debut? How would you grade it?
Yeah, okay, right? Like, I mean, again, I think the timing. I thought he held I thought he held it some. He didn't see it great. The ball didn't come out. But again, I didn't expect different because of all the time he missed. I mean, I think my expectations were that he would play about like he did. I think he'll be good for us. I mean, I really do. I'm one of those guys who believes that he's going to get better. Our football team will be better with him as the season progresses. It's going to take time, but man, like I think this is one part that I would tell every fan. Like, it's disrespectful to the game of football to believe that you can miss all this time and it just comes back, right? Like there's a reason. I know everybody laughs about the Iverson quote about practice, but practice does matter for us. Like, you have 11 guys who have to play together, and if 10 do a great job and one, just stinks, the play is bad. I mean, like there's no getting around this. You know what I mean? And so practice matters, being together matters, being out on the field, taking live, all that stuff matters. And so, I was happy with the way Wentz was not the reason we didn't win. You know what I mean? So I think he will be better for our football team. And again, we'll get this thing back on track. And man, listen, we played a good team. Like, Seattle is not a freaking scrub team, right? Like, this is a 12-4 group that won out there last season and got banged up towards the end of the year. But this is a good football team, man. So, let's not act like we went out there and got beat by the Jags, or right off the jump, or the Texans. Like, we got beat by a good football team who deserved to win. They played well, and they made big plays against our defense when it mattered. So let's give some credit to the other side as well.
Yeah, that NFC West, oh boy, that is a grown man's division out there. Jeff, just a couple more with you. That's now 8 straight season openers the Colts have lost, and I want to say it's 12 of 13. Obviously, that spans multiple regimes, coaches, GMs, all that. When does that no longer become a coincidence?
Man, you know what? That's a great point. I have never heard. I did not know that. So, yeah, man, that is not a pretty thing. I mean, you think about being prepared for week one, but again, I think every year's a little bit different. And this is a strange one, man. You had all your best guys on offense, and here's the other thing. I'm not sure why this happened, but I was shocked yesterday at the big plays. Like, our defense usually does a pretty good job. But Lockett having the two, the Metcalf's not really a big play. But when you looked at our defense, you take out 2 plays, and it's really a completely different game. But I was a little surprised. Look, Lockett stuck Wilson in the ground. It was an incredible route, and he's wide open. But man, we can't give those things up. So I think, again, man, we gotta come back to the drawing board, get this thing going, and hope to play better next week.
Jeff, I think you're exactly right. This wasn't a pushover team. Like, this is a top-tier team in the NFC. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I laid the 3 yesterday on Seattle, so I was comfortable with where things were at. However, this O-line and the question marks behind it, there is another real legitimate threat and one of the top pass rushers in all of football, and Aaron Donald next. How do you get confidence instilled back as a fan base and as a coaching staff, knowing that that's what awaits the next test for this offensive line that definitely failed its first go-around in week 1?
Yeah, you better be juiced, right? Like you watched them last night, man. You better be juiced. The offensive line, for last week and this week, like, this is, as a young player, this is how you put yourself on the map. Like go produce against this. I think, it'll always be exciting to watch Nelson and Donald go at it, man. That'll be a ton of fun, or Kelly and Donald, like, however that's going to look. I'm excited about that as well. But this group, they got to lay it out here. I mean, like, when you say you're one of the best in the league and you want to be a top 5 offensive line and all the things that implies, when you go face the best, you got to wire them up, man, and put some dudes up on the peg and give Wentz some time and let him make some plays, because they're there. But you're going to have to, you're going to have to know where Ramsey is. You got to know, there's going to be the same kind of thing that Adams was last week. They kind of have that going for the Rams now as well. That they're moving him around, and Raheem Morris, their defensive coordinator, does a good job, like, finding mismatches. So this offensive line's got their work cut out for them, man. Like, but this, again, to your point, this is how you show the league and everybody this is this is the foundation of our football team, is this offensive line. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to see how these guys play next week.
Jeff, looked like a pretty fun weekend for the Saturday family, going back to your old stomping grounds.
Man, you ain't kidding, bro. We had a great time. You know what's crazy? So my youngest son is in high school now. So he played his JV game in Athens, Georgia. Then we end up going to my son's game up in North Carolina, and now I'm back in Connecticut at ESPN. So it's been we were with those babies all weekend and headed to Alabama soon. So, man, we're on a world travel tour, but having so much fun with them, man. Could not have a better time.
And then I got to ask you, I don't know if your travels will allow for it, but will you be here next weekend? Because I know Peyton and Edge are getting their Hall of Fame rings.
No, man, I wish I cannot be there. So they always – what's crazy is, like, you don't really know when this is going to happen, and then they just kind of throw it out. And so my work schedule's already spoken for. But look, man, I had a great time hanging with them at the Hall of Fame. And listen, they get enough awards, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be there for every one.
Right.
They'll have plenty of fun, but I am going to miss it, man, because I love being in Indy and with the guys. Man, I'm telling you, there's not a better group of guys, man. When we were back at the Hall of Fame, and man, when we all get together, it's so much fun. So I'm gonna miss them, but they deserve it, and I can't wait to hear how it goes next Sunday.
Speaking of too much airtime, now we got to watch Peyton for 3 hours tonight with him and Eli.
You ain't kidding. I mean, man, like I told them, like, the rich get richer, bro. Go ahead and take over. Monday Night Football. Don't worry. Like, we got like 3 megacasts here going at ESPN. I'm like, we might as well just turn it off. Everybody go to Eli and Peyton. I mean, what in the world, man? These dudes, everybody's going to be sitting listening to this. And I will tell you, because I have heard they are good, man. Mm-hmm. Like it's fun. I did a little practice thing with them, and man, they are really good. So it's going to be a ton of fun to hear them. And don't worry, I'm taking notes. I'm going to be charting all the mistakes, all the mess ups they have. I'm putting them on blast. So next week, we need like a little 30-second segment of Peyton screw-ups. You know what I mean? So we can get after them. We're going to chart it for the season.
I absolutely love this. Jeff Saturday's own film session, breaking down things for his old quarterback. No better person to have on today, Jeff. Thank you. I know it's been a busy 72 hours for you, so appreciate the time as always, and can't wait to have you on every Monday.
So looking forward to it. Love you, fellas. Can't wait, man. Have a great day.
The great Jeff Saturday right there. Again, more restoration. Now, first on site, new name, same great people. Man, he brings it. He brings it. And I'm literally watching him, Jimmy, like he was on SportsCenter at 7:45. I mean, he's doing that from a worldwide leader. So
there are only a handful of guys that you're able to see amongst different talk shows, whether it's here locally or nationally, and also doing SportsCenter hits. Yeah. Jeff Saturday, one of them.
And the thing I wanted, in knowing Jeff, how humble he is, he didn't want to mention it. North Carolina named their offensive line meeting room after Jeff Saturday on Saturday. So that's why he was back. Mac Brown had him back to Chapel Hill, and so just a really cool thing there for Jeff. And I'm going to guess that this offensive line here in Indianapolis could learn a thing or two. Just a lot of good insight in there, just the communication aspect to it, and blocking for a different type of quarterback. And for any of you that missed it, we'll replay that to close out the show today. Let's hit a Big O Tires SportsCenter update.
This SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
I thought the backbreaker was this 69-yarder. It's a 2nd and 20, about 50 seconds to go in the first half on Sunday, and Russell Wilson did Russell Wilson.
Yeah, take your pick right there on the Colts sack. Russell Wilson has been the most sacked quarterback since 2012. He's dancing in the pocket. Now he's going to heave it way downfield. He's got a man. That's Tyler Lockett in stride, over the shoulder grab, and he walks into the end zone for a touchdown. And that's a gain of 69 yards on a deep bomb down the field. Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett.
There are sometimes as a play-by-play guy where I don't want my color man like talking over, and I want him to shine after the play.
Right.
But that is so well timed.
So good.
Oh, no.
Matt Taylor paints a beautiful picture, but Rick Venturi chiming in right then is the exact thing that you need to see on a 2nd and 20 play with 50 seconds to go in the first half. It's funny, Jimmy, when he said, "Oh no," I think I said, "Oh shh." That's where I went. Like, oh my gosh, I saw a very high-ranking Colts official in the bathroom at halftime, and he uttered the phrase, "That was SH." And we don't need to go any further there. But that play, man.
It's a consonant, I think.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Kind of late in the alphabet. That play, like this defense. One more time, Eddie. Give us a Rick Ventura.
Hold on, I got.
Do you have what I asked for already?
I mean, just as soon as Lockett makes that, because he kind of juked towards the Seattle sideline and got Willis, I think, turned around. And by the way, Jonathan Vilma just a horrific job pronouncing Kari Willis, Bobby Okereke on the telecast all game long. And boom, as soon as that foot goes in the ground, Wilson had enough time, and he throws as good a deep ball as Rodgers, Mahomes. I mean, it's incredible.
You could isolate that now if you want, but if the Fan Morning Show doesn't take that, I'm still in it for the Dan Dawkins Show. That no is just going to be a new hitter in the hotkeys.
You guys have Pagano congratulations. We need the
really proud, baby.
Way down.
Yes.
The Colts, obviously a day off today. No injuries coming out of the game if we're looking for a positive. There was one other positive I want to get to a little bit later in the show as well. Frank Reich will talk to the media around the 4 o'clock hour. You brought up Eric Fisher earlier, Jimmy. 3 limited practices for Fisher last week. We'll see if 3 practices, seemingly a little bit of full, gets him back on the field. Obviously, Kamoko Ture didn't play, and neither did Xavier Rhodes. The Rhodes thing, I don't know 100% if he's back. Obviously, they didn't put him on IR, so they think he's not going to miss 3 games. But, if you watch Matthew Stafford sling it around last night, oh boy, you could use Xavier Rhodes.
I understand this isn't the right way to think about this, and I'll probably get dunked on for it or whatever. It comes with the territory. I had the Colts losing these first 2 games. I did, out of the bat. Eric Fisher better check every damn box that needs to be checked before you rush him back. Because I know it's been, 8 months now, 8 or 9 months. That's a scary injury to come back from, man, particularly as a lineman. Your offensive line already has enough question marks right now. Don't rush him back.
Yeah, and again, I don't know why or how the Colts felt like leaving Julian Davenport on an island on multiple third downs was the right way to go. Chris goes, my biggest takeaway from yesterday was at Russell Wilson is really, really good. Yeah, I think that's a true statement there. NFC West continues for the Colts next week. It will be the Rams inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. And then it'll be at Tennessee in week 3. We talked a little bit about Carson Wentz earlier. Here was the Colts quarterback after the game on his debut.
I think that the way we started the game, obviously we'd love to score there, but the way we came out, moved the ball, that was encouraging. The way we finished offensively there, and getting that touchdown late, I think was definitely encouraging, something we can build off of. But really outside of those 2 drives, we got to be better. And there's stuff we can learn from, but I think we can take those 2 drives and see what we can do and what we are made of and kind of build from there.
Yeah, Jimmy, the Colts preached so often when they made the trade for Wentz, we will give him more support. The Colts never said this publicly, but behind the doors they go, Philadelphia was a soap opera last year, and we won't make that happen. Well, so far it's been soap-like, honestly, here in Indianapolis. And your O-line and your run game, borderline no-shows. And this team will go nowhere until that gets fixed.
I do want to give a shout out. I understand that, it wasn't like it was big plays left and right, but Mike Strawn, baby, like another bright spot.
That was my
yesterday.
positive.
Like that was one of your positives,
yeah.
And it's one of mine as well. Like, I know, again, I'm not saying he's an upper echelon of like DK Metcalf or anything, but where he was drafted, his story.
He hasn't played football in nearly 2 years.
Hype bubbling up towards him. He lived up to expectations and exceeded yesterday. Hats off to him.
2 big third down grabs. I mean, you imagine in Vegas the type of money you could have got back in May if you would have said Mike Strawn will have the first catch of the Colts 2021 season.
Big value.
I mean, we could literally move to Vegas, my wife and I, if we pulled that off. All right, around the NFL yesterday, congrats to your Chiefs.
Thank you.
Thriller.
Again.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was. Dan asked me, should we live bet the Chiefs? He asked me at halftime. I had already live bet them, maybe to the tune of like $120 when they were down early. And I was like, no, there's no Tyrann Mathieu out there. I don't like the way the defense looks.
Boo.
I would stay
No one
away.
lives betting more than Dan.
Hey, whoa. I'm right there as well. I love the live bet. And at one point, I was very hyped around here as the king of the live bet. I said stay away. I still stand by it. Forgetting, though, my one regret, the Browns are going to Browns. First punt of the day. You bobble it as the punter. You try to take off with it. Give Mahomes short field. That's it.
Yeah,
all she wrote.
That was it. And Mahomes to Hill, got things started when it was 29-20.
Look, I know no one in this fan base, in this market, is going to feel bad for me. I get it. It's fine. but those are the type of plays that a Luck or a Manning would make throughout their
We
career.
know. You don't have to rub it in.
My point is, though, is that's what solves things.
Right.
You need Carson Wentz to be what he was. And I want him to get there. I do. I don't think anybody wants...
That's not reality.
It could be.
Yeah, well...
Right now it's not, but it could be, KB.
In Jim Irsay's dreams, maybe.
Those text messages mean something, KB.
Yeah, well, yeah, the 2 a.m. text could mean a whole lot, but they obviously didn't turn into a win. Steelers come back and beat the Bills yesterday. Chandler Jones, 5 sacks for the Cardinals. They really dominate the Titans. And with the Texans beating the Jags, the Houston Texans. Who needs Deshaun Watson? They're 1-0 in the AFC South.
Somebody tweeted that at you yesterday, and you quote tweeted I think you said, I love Twitter.
Well,
because they were
it was
pointing out to
early
you.
in the game, and they go, if the scores hold up, the Texans are going to... It's like, dude, it's September 12th. If the scores hold up, come find me in Week 17.
Hey, with all the Texans have gone through, you're hanging a banner if you're winning the...
Yeah.
Just hang it for led the division after Week 1. Gotta put it up in the rafters.
I was going to say I could make a massage joke here, but I'll just let that one go.
Good on you.
Matthew Stafford, 20 of 26 last night for 321 and 3 touchdowns. The Rams beat the Bears 34-14.
We're going to have, as we always do every day, great content throughout the day, whether it's Ride the JMV to close or the Dan Dockett Show after this. But I'm very curious to hear Dan's thoughts, because who he wanted and who a number of Colts fans wanted them to gather and obtain at quarterback was Matthew Stafford. Two polar opposite days for the two. I will contest, though, that I don't know that Stafford would have held up much better against that O-line.
Yes, and I'll say this, and we can get into it more as the week moves along, but there is someone with a good amount of authority inside that Colts building that thinks Matthew Stafford is not good, at all. And that person has some say, and that person, I think, played into Matthew Stafford. And to be fair, the trade package was pretty immense.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you. Not good in the sense of what would have had to be given up, or not good?
Well, I think
blanket?
a little bit of both, okay. But I think just no. Have you seen the guy's resume? Obviously that is the elephant in the room with Stafford. It's the playoff aspect to him. Granted, you could argue the same thing with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has played, 10 snaps in the playoffs?
Stafford fans blame everything on Detroit and that they were a poorly run organization and they never surrounded him with enough weapons post-Megatron. I tend to agree with that a little bit, but you look at his numbers deeper statistically, he's not he's not top 10. Not top 5, excuse me.
Yeah, we can get into that argument a little bit later. Jimmy Cook's going to be in tomorrow and again on Friday. Moving over to college football, Purdue rolls the Little Sisters of the UConn.
That was a typo. It was my bad. I wrote that today.
49-0. David Bell, absolute stud. Xander Horvath, though, did get banged up, so that's something to watch for Purdue. And all of a sudden, Notre Dame Purdue's on Saturday, and boy, that game in South Bend looks a little bit nervy for Brian Kelly.
Could some Ball State fans call in and tell me why I shouldn't feel bad that Toledo, just dominated yesterday? Can I?
For what it's worth, this is going to sound very homerish. Toledo brought back their top 20 tacklers.
Thank you.
And I think the most offensive production of any team in college football. Having said that, Notre Dame's O-line, we expect reload. Oh, no, that's rebuild
down.
Right now.
Well, they are down now to their third left tackle.
But still, even some of those other spots.
Right. But I'm saying, again, you lose a piece like that. I give credit to the Irish, give credit to Jack Cohn, leading them to win that with a game-winning drive to close things, dislocating his finger just seconds beforehand. However, and I know one of our assistant program directors, the great Todd Meyer, is going to be happy to hear me say this. I'll be there Saturday. I am worried for the Irish. I think Purdue has a real chance to pull the upset on Saturday.
George Karlaftis, another guy that probably likes watching Notre Dame offensive line film right now, a la Aaron Donald with the Colts. Oregon goes into the horseshoe and as a double-digit underdog beats the Buckeyes. And I know that was
Ducks.
I know that was a 7-point game at the end. Don't let that. Oregon controlled that game. Big-time win for Mario Cristobal.
Don't know where your expectations are if you're a Buckeyes fan, but C.J. Stroud still yet to impress to me 2 weeks into the college football season.
Yeah, a couple big throws in their opener, but yeah, I would agree. Some growing pains there right now for the Buckeyes. Arkansas dominates Texas and then took to Twitter and was absolutely hilarious. Check that out if you missed it. You see the ending of Jacksonville State, Florida State?
I did.
Oh, man, you want to hear some great radio calls there. You call it a Hail Mary? Not like an outright Hail Mary, but kind of like hey, we'll throw it to one guy and we hope he comes down with it or else the game's over. And he came down with it, and Florida State decided they're like, hey, Kari Willis, watch this. We're going to make sure that we play horrific.
Give credit to the receiver behind the gentleman that caught the football laid that block at the end to seal. I mean, he already had the angle, so he's probably clear anyway. But man, what the Gamecocks! Shout out to him. Me and Dan were just laughing about Jacksonville State a week or two ago because he asked me where Jacksonville State was, and I forget where it is now that we've had this conversation. I think Mississippi from that conversation, but I, like an idiot, guessed, Dan, Jacksonville, probably.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it in Alabama or something?
It's like Mississippi or Alabama.
Okay, yeah. I do remember looking that up one time being like, this makes no sense from a geography standpoint.
But good for them.
Yes, great for them. Not great for Notre Dame's schedule.
No.
Portland race yesterday in the IndyCar. Alex Palou gets his third victory of the season. He started on the pole, but chaos ensued on the first lap. And all of a sudden, him and Alexander Rossi, Scott Dixon, they're way in the back. They ended up starting 1-2-3 and finishing 1-2-3, but that's not how the race necessarily unfolded with those three at the top all race long. Pato Award, 14th. So now you've got Alex Palou back up 25 points with 2 races to go on Award, 34 on Joseph Newgarden, and 49 on Scott Dixon. Laguna Seca and Long Beach back-to-back Sundays to end the year. Shout out to former Carmel High School tennis product, Rajiv Ram, winning the Grand Slam at the U.S. Open. I believe it's his 4th, maybe, Grand Slam title. All in doubles for him. He's got a silver medal as well with Venus Williams in the Olympics back in Rio, so an outstanding career continues there. Novak Djokovic loses to Mr. Medvedev is what we're going with. I wonder if that'll be a pop quiz question.
We haven't mentioned this on any of the Big O Tires yet, but eating a W yesterday. Jameis Winston, come on.
Hey, Mike Wells last week had Jameis Winston as his comeback player of the year, and boy, I did not see that coming. That was one that I was dead wrong.
I was texting buddies left and right. Packers only 3.5-point favorites? What is this? I should definitely take this, right? I did not end up pulling the trigger.
In Jacksonville.
Right?
It should have
been,
a
neutral site game in theory. A lot of people were speculating more Packers fans would be there because Green Bay always travels well. I cannot believe how one-sided that was and how really, really good Jameis Winston looked. This one-game sample size, Aaron Rodgers is right. It is 1 week for the Packers. It's also 1 week for Jameis Winston. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit before I'm ready to say comeback player of the year. But so far, Mike Wells, man.
NFC North goes 0-4. NFC West goes 4-0 yesterday in week 1. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. We'll get back to some open phone lines, 317-239-1070. If you want, we want to hear your thoughts, not only on Carson Wentz, but the Colts' performance in general in week 1. Jimmy mentioned a positive earlier. We'll touch on that as well. It's Kevin Bowe and Jimmy Cook here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Sports with Dan Dakich.
Matt Taylor joins us, the voice of the Colts. Who impressed you in the preseason?
Not that I didn't think I was going to be impressed by Mike Strawn. A 7th-round draft pick. It's a really, really cool story. He's a great guy, and I think he's got just a lot of potential. I don't think he's anywhere near reaching his ceiling right now, Dan. I think he's going to be a really, really good football player for the Colts.
Dan Dakich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Join our sister station 93.1 WIBC, the new home of Indiana football, this Saturday at 12 noon as the Hoosiers take on the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Hey, JMV business owners, are you feeling the pressures of running your business? There's a limit to what you can do and still keep employees engaged. Insperity can help. They put 30-plus years of HR experience to work to help you with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving your employees competitive benefit options. And because you're able to focus on other priorities, your employees can thrive and your business can grow. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Full service HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
Construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it. Oh my God. You're gonna hit him!
Oh,
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
If you're a man aged 45 to 80 with a history of heart disease or stroke, please listen closely to this message. Some men with a history of heart disease or stroke also have low testosterone levels, also known as hypogonadism. Symptoms of low testosterone, hypogonadism, include decreased sexual desire, fatigue, depressed mood, and loss of body hair. If you've had a heart attack or stroke in the past and experienced the symptoms of low testosterone, hypogonadism, please consider our research study that is underway in Indianapolis. Qualified participants may receive testosterone replacement therapy or placebo and study-related care at no cost, as well as compensation for their time. Locations in Indianapolis, Franklin, and Greenfield. Please call now to speak with the research study coordinator. Dial 317-406-7900. The number again is 317-406-7900. That's 317-406-7900.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Listen on air, online at 1075thefan.com, and on our free app at Google Play and on the App Store. You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Should Colts fans be jumping? A little jump here. Van Halen from Eddie Garrison. Welcome back to the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook is in Monday, Tuesday, and Friday this week. Always enjoy chatting with JCook.
What up, world?
And, jeez, that was beautiful on a Monday morning there. We'll take your calls, 317-239-1070. A lot to get to. I tweeted out some snap counts yesterday, Jimmy, for the Indianapolis Colts. Marlon Mack, I tried to warn fans, he ain't going to play. And Marlon Mack with the old put on your jersey and don't sweat one bit. The old goose egg for Marlon Mack yesterday on the snap counts. It's rare you see that in the NFL.
Yeah.
That a running back dresses in a game and does not play.
Yeah, I mean, but you saw that, right? I mean, that's maybe not a snap, but like you figured it would be a limited type of debut.
Yeah, well,
or return, I guess I should say.
Again, me personally, I'm good with them rolling with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Like, I am totally fine with that. I don't necessarily think you need to spell them. So I've said this before. Like, I'd put Jordan Wilkins in the game before I'm putting Marlon Mack in the game. But like, it is one of those things where you look right now on this team, and Marlon Mack, I mean, he's not helping you out on special teams. Like, he's literally in there for Jonathan Taylor to get hurt. Like, that's the only reason he's dressing. It's like, if Taylor gets hurt, you got to go to a normal kind of first and second down back. And Hines, I don't think you just want him in that role. You want Hines in that role that he's, particularly good at.
We talked about it a lot in the offseason. I mentioned it a number of times as well, that this core of running backs next to maybe Cleveland is tops in the league. The difference is, though, and man, if you're a Jonathan Taylor fantasy owner, then you're feeling pretty good about this difference. That is that it is not a Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb type of setup where you're having change of pace at least one game in every down type of thing. It's the Jonathan Taylor show with, like you said, some Hines sprinkled in there. But in terms of workhorse back, Jonathan Taylor right now, there's no thunder and lightning. It's just thunder.
Jonathan Taylor, 42 of 76 snaps yesterday, 23 touches on those 42 snaps. Nyheim Hines, 34 snaps, 15 touches for Nyheim Hines. So both touch the football a whole lot when they're on the field. But look at that, Jimmy. 76 total offensive snaps, 42 Taylor, 34 Hines. That obviously adds up to 76. I want to see them on the field together. Like, going back to that 4th and 2, and again, I stand by the 4th and 2 decision to go for it. You needed a touchdown. You had gone 5 straight drives with 1 first down leading into that drive. This was your best chance to score a touchdown with 10 minutes to go in the game. So I am a fan of going for it, but the play call, and obviously Braden Smith's attempt at blocking. By the way, Darrell Taylor, who made that play, first ever NFL game. He does that to one of the highest paid right tackles in the league.
I do want to say something, though. Rick Venturi hit on this in the pregame huddle. He was all over Taylor. He was all over Taylor, and then he was all over Taylor again with John on Thursday of last week. So he saw something in Taylor, and it seemed like the Colts didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he was a former high pick and was hurt last year and had a strong training camp for Seattle, but no one in this league should be doing that to Braden Smith. I mean, we've watched Braden Smith go up against J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt. I mean, like, he's not getting manhandled like that. I mean, that was a let me throw you out of the club type of move there. But getting back to the running back thing, Jimmy, I would just like to see, I think Frank Reich is a creative play caller. And yesterday, I was disappointed in his play calling. I thought it was too vanilla, I don't want to give Carson too much. It's just kind of like, you got these 2 weapons in 28 and 21. Put them in the backfield together or put them in a huddle together. Make the defense start to scramble and think, oh boy, who's going to get the ball here? Are you jet sweeping one? Are you throwing a quick screen to one? Both of them catch the ball to the backfield fine.
It makes you wonder, because I felt the same way. And that's not the most uncommon thing in the world, right? You have a key player that is coming back, and not just a key player, what you hope is a franchise player, trying to restore his career, reset things. He got injured early on in the preseason. You're trying to keep things simple for him. Like that, I'm not stunned by it, but I was a little bit like surprised that's the way they went throughout the game. And going back to what you mentioned earlier about going for it on 4th and 2, you know, a lot of people point to, and you mentioned this off air, KB, every situation is different. You have to have a feel for the moment. Well, the feel for the moment there was, I know this defense is highly touted in a lot of regards, but at the same time, they struggled last year against elite quarterbacks and against elite teams. So you already kind of have that against your wall already. But with the flow of that game and the way the defense played, which, by the way, I think gave up a touchdown the very next drive after turnover on downs anyway, you have to go for it there. Nothing that your defense showed you would instill confidence you're going to get a stop next go around.
And you still need a touchdown in a two-point conversion.
Correct.
As well. Let's go to Scott. Scott's been hanging on the phone lines. Morning, Scott.
Good morning. Great show, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
A couple things about yesterday. I know people are wanting to probably jump off the ledges this morning, but there's 2 things that bothered me. I think the Colts will be fine, but they got to fix these 2 things. Number one is the offensive line. There were a lot of guys that struggled yesterday. They've got to get that fixed. And those guys got to man up there. I hear all the press clippings and everything. It's time to own up to that stuff. And the second thing is the secondary. Our safety yesterday couldn't have covered somebody out of the bleachers. I mean, they were clueless. That was the worst safety play I think I've seen in years. And I don't know what they're doing back there, but they've got to get that fixed, or we're going to have a long season.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. You know, Jimmy, it goes back to our opening segment. Like, if you ask Frank Reich and Chris Ballard what is the biggest belief you have in roster-building football, they'd say, you win up front, you win with the O-line. You ask the same question to Matt Eberflus, he'll say, we're not going to do too much exotic, we're not going to be too crazy, but we're not going to give up the big play. So much for that. I mean, and let's take each touchdown. The 2 to Lockett, that we're talking about. The first one, you bring the house. You bring 7. You bring everybody. Your cover 0 across the board. Your man coverage across the board. I'm fine with that. I would want to see then, and I'd have to go back and look. I assume Kenny Moore probably blitzed on that play. But I would like to see a Kenny Moore or an Isaiah Rodgers or just a corner on Tyler Lockett in that scenario. I don't know if DK Metcalf was out of the game at that point, but Metcalf was in and out in that first half, especially if Metcalf was on the bench. Hell, I'd rather see Rock on Tyler Lockett there, because if you don't get home with 7, Russell Wilson's too damn good. And that pass, oh my gosh. And Willie Mays over the shoulder.
Yeah. I was going to clarify, because I was like, that was the over-the-shoulder play, right? When that happened, like, again, I was at home, and I was like, oh my goodness. And credit Lockett, too, because I got to be honest, I don't know what it was like, you know, above in the press box. I thought he overshot him. And I was like, all right, he's not going to be able to make the play.
I thought it was too far right. You know, I was like, Lockett's not going to adjust to that. And oh my gosh, man, that was beautiful by Lockett. And then the second touchdown, the reverse. It's 2nd and 20 with 50 seconds to go in the half. and Seattle's at their own 31. You know what's coming there? Either a give-up play or a crazy shot. And if you're Corey Wilson, Julian Blackmon, and you know that you're only rushing 4, you are getting way the you-know-what back. Way back. Like, gosh, did you not watch Florida State the night before? Like, that is the only thing that can beat you in that scenario, and that was the backbreaker. The previous possession, you had a 3rd and 1. Ryan Kelly gets called for illegal man downfield, and that kind of is why I asked Jeff Saturday last segment, Jimmy, like, you're blocking for different quarterbacks now. The RPO is now a much bigger part of this game. Carson might have held on to that RPO a little bit too long, but that's part of it now. Like, Ryan Kelly is way too far down the field, so he gets penalized. Now it's 3rd and 6. You try the 50-50 ball to Mo Alley Cox. Good coverage by Jordan Brooks and, whatever. Now you're punting. You get them behind the chains, way behind the chains, and you give up that play? Oh, no, says Rick Venturi. Oh, bleep is what I was saying. And I know Rick can't say that, but I know he was thinking it.
That's kind of Rick, the seasoned broadcaster that he is, to pocket it and go with oh no. That was expect nothing less. Yes, thank you, Eddie. Proud of you.
If we could hear the Rick Venturi comments off air, can we subscribe to that somehow?
They are something. Let me tell you. They are something.
Eddie knows full well.
Rick Venturi talks about ambient players. Like, they're going to need sleep medications prescribed to pretty much the whole Colts fan base after that. I mean, my goodness. Just everything that you had heard going in terms of just how talented Russell Wilson is to make plays like that. You saw it firsthand. And on top of that, man, Dan mentioned this earlier in the week, and I've always viewed the same thing because of how just talented he is, but he's very humble to himself. Tyler Lockett gets completely overshadowed sometimes, but just what a monster DK Metcalf is.
Tyler Lockett, I think he's at the point where you hope T.Y. Hilton can get to. Obviously, Hilton's had the better overall career, but Lockett is similar mold as a player and whatnot. We come back on the Fan Morning Show. We're going to get into a couple of positives as well. Drew pointed out this, which I thought was really good. 2 4th and shorts, and Taylor wasn't in the game on either of them. The QB sneak, he wasn't in the game. Now, QB sneak was kind of a, let's hurry up, let's keep the personnel on the field, and let's go with it. And that was on Wentz. I feel like the Colts have a dynamic backfield with Wentz, Taylor, and Hines. I'd like to see more of them on the field together and get the defense kind of, where are they going?
On the radio broadcasts, I want to get your thoughts on this, KB. Rick Venturi, I believe I'm quoting him directly here, said, don't get cute with it. Don't get cute with it there when they fumbled the football. He wanted something more straightforward, standard run the ball.
But to me, and I obviously agree with Rick on so much, but to me, the QB sneak isn't cute at all.
Yeah.
I mean, think how effective you were with it last year. And honestly, if Wentz even gets that exchange, I don't know if
you're worried about if he gets, or even if he picks it up, right? Yeah.
I mean, and Bobby Wagner, that dude lining up his boys for Seattle. Watch that play again. He knows exactly. He's hitting those defensive tackles on their butt, saying, "Get in, get in." Jamal Adams comes running in. I mean, Seattle, man, they are so well coached and they're really good.
Some
team.
defenses are simplistic, but they're carried by vocal leaders. Bobby Wagner is one of them.
Hall of Famer. We don't see him a lot because we're 3 time zones away, but that is an absolute Hall of Famer. All right, it's Kevin Bowe and Jimmy Cook on the Fan Morning Show. Phone lines are open 317-239-1070. Want to hear your thoughts on the Colts losing an 8th straight season opener. We'll be back here after the break.
Week 1 may be over, but the season's just getting started at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off Week 2, DraftKings is giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Listen up. Bet just $1 on any football game this week and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new customers $200 in free bets instantly when they bet at least $1 on any football game. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code WFNI to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That's code WFNI this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only, new customer only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, 800-9 with it.
Homes are sold. Go to OfferPad.com, tell us about your home, and we'll send you a great cash offer. Or, if that's not your style, we can also list your home with tons of free OfferPad services, free handyman fixes, house cleaning, yard work, and more to get your home show-ready. We can even advance renovation costs to maximize your home's value. Whatever way you want to sell, you're sold with OfferPad. Sell your way today at OfferPad.com. Terms and conditions apply. Real estate brokerage services provided by OfferPad Brokerage LLC. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey, it's JMV. If you've got a valid Class A, B, or commercial driver's license, listen up. Ray's Trash Service is now hiring, offering industry-leading pay and benefits for qualified drivers. Openings include rear load, front load, and roll-off drivers. Check them out at raystrash.com. You know Ray's, the orange truck crews you all see all over Indy. Ray's is a local company with a great culture, family-run since the 60s. Check out these great opportunities. Apply today at raystrash.com. That's raystrash.com.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is the present? Well, it's the perfect time to call Golden Oak to find out how much money you can save. Home values are up, which means you have more equity than you think. There's no time like the present to take advantage of our low 2.25% rate. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, it's JMV. The biggest game this Sunday, the Chiefs and the Ravens, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the weekend right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. This should be a fantastic game. And you got to love what the #1 rated sports book app in America does for you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. But use that promo code JMV today. Again, you could win $150 on just a $5 bet. And the Chiefs-Ravens matchup, FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. That's 21 plus and present in Indiana. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Justina. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, I receive support from those above me. If you want to move up, you really have that relationship and encouragement.
As a full-time employee, she can even get paid training and tuition reimbursement. Yep, there's no stopping her now. She's even taken over book club.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
Get Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss breakfast croissant for $1.99. This hot, buttery croissant is fluffy enough to sleep on. Wakey, wakey, get a better breakfast for just $1.99. Only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Third-party delivery prices may vary. Not following the combo.
Phillies, Mets, Sunday Night Baseball. The action begins at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Here we go again. 8 straight season opening loss. Okay, Eddie Garrison and I on the same wavelength there.
White Snakes.
Now, how many times have they gone 0-2 during this 8-game losing streak?
I want to say they went 0-2 in like back-to-back years in like 13 or 14. They have gone 0-2 quite a few times. I think back to that, they were 0-2 and they won at Tennessee. Philip Dorsett had a big touchdown. Luck came back. It was the game where Luck first got hurt down there in Nashville when Jarrell Casey hit him. So, yeah, right now I think I saw the early line Rams favored by 4.5. Does that sound right?
A particular sportsbook that I use sometimes has it at 4, but I think it's floated around there 4.5.
Great job, by the way. Right there.
Oh, come on
being so
not my first time
politically correct. We got some positive things we want to get to here in a few minutes. If you guys missed the Jeff Saturday interview from earlier, that's going to be up on the podcast, and we're going to re-air that to close out the show today. We missed I Gotta Know earlier with Eddie Garrison, so let's get to that now.
All right, so it's been well documented that you guys are in favor of the fourth down, so I won't ask about that. But one thing,
Timeout. Are you guys in favor of both the fourth downs? There was a QB sneak and then a 4th and 2. The QB sneak was with 3:30 to go in the third.
I'm fine with both.
Okay.
I thought the play call on the 4th and 1 with the QB sneak was a little too cute. I think they should have read it a little bit better. Seattle had 6 guys in the box. They had 3 over the center, and then they had Adams, Wagner, and another linebacker right behind those 3 linemen. So there was no way Carson Wentz was going to convert that, even if he handles the snap.
I wanted them to go for it on the opening drive. So yeah, I was for the. the 4th and 2.
I was good with the field goal there. I felt like
it's the smart play. I understand.
You know, and by the way, shout out to Lucas Oil Stadium. That first quarter and a half, I mentioned earlier, IU student section packed for Idaho on Saturday night, and just driving into Lucas Oil yesterday, man, the fans deserved a better effort for 4 quarters. But that place was rocking for a quarter and a half, and I don't usually say that about Lucas Oil.
All right, KB, you were up early. You said you got up at like 4:30 for whatever the reason, but Jesus. You tweeted out some numbers, and something I noticed was 14 wide receiver targets yesterday. Is that a byproduct of the receivers not being opened, the game script, or Wentz just simply not looking for them?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Eddie. That's got to change for me. You know, you had, 7 targets to Taylor, 8 to Hines. I mean, that's, like 40% of your targets to your running backs. That's too check down central for me. And yeah, I think we've had a question about this wide receiver group and like how much separation can you create. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. I just feel like Frank Reich a hair too vanilla for me. The other thing, Jimmy, that I feel like needs to change, Paris Campbell, 1 touch and 40-some targets, or 40-some snaps, excuse me. We don't know how long Paris Campbell's gonna stay healthy, folks.
I'll tell you what, though, hell of a touch.
And
when he got hit, I was like, he's up. All right.
I know. Yes. I was like, oh my! You imagine the exhale for 60-some thousand inside of Lucas Oil, but I'd like to see Taylor Campbell get more time.
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't feel bad about saying this now. In a group chat, a bunch of Colts fans was like, man, I can't believe Paris Campbell got up after that. Like, it's new and improved.
Seriously, gosh.
When you look across the board, not just for the Colts, but like in the entire NFL yesterday, it seemed like star players and starters were all struggling. Do you think head coaches are going to reconsider sitting their starters and players in preseason?
I think they should. I think it's a major issue for the Colts. I think how the Colts handled the spring, which, again, the players were very vocal on they don't want to participate in the spring, offense versus defense, and then how they handled the training camp of the preseason. How do you not look in the mirror? 8 straight years? Like, this is not a coincidence any further. So, and Jimmy, I know your guy played in the preseason, right?
That's about to say. So I say, guess who played in the preseason? Guess who got significant minutes in that last game? Patrick Mahomes. Whether you believe in rust or not, things were more fine-tuned. You could tell the offense was paced better for Kansas City. It got even better as the game went on. Sorry, I got distracted because you and me are playing fantasy tonight, and the Lions didn't give up yesterday, so the Niners defense lost some points there, and now I'm sweating out with Lamar Jackson.
But Come on, Lamar. Be selfish.
But yeah, I believe in getting good reps, particularly at least on that last game. I know it's 2 weeks in between the preseason finale and the start of the regular season now, but that should still be treated as a dress rehearsal in my mind.
Yeah, I just feel like you got to play your frontline guys a little bit more, or even just be a little bit more physical, good on good when you're in training camp as well.
Also, you mentioned that 8 straight stat. I know Colts fans don't want to hear this, but I picked the Seahawks for good reason. I didn't think that streak was snapping this weekend.
And I think something that also confused me a little bit was did we all of a sudden think that the Anthony Costanzo, T.Y. Hilton stat, did we forget about those? Yeah. Obviously, Costanzo's not here, but the Costanzo replacement isn't here either. And then, as much as Hilton isn't the same guy, the Colts are 1-10 without him.
Browns have lost 17 straight season openers, Colts fans. It's okay. It's all right. You're not there.
No. They tied one.
They did tie one.
They haven't won.
They have not. Thank you. Yes. They have not gotten a victory in 17 straight season openers.
Scotty chimes in. The Colts have lost 2 straight. They lost from 14, 15, 16, and 17. So four in a row right there. They started 0-2.
Scotty J is a man. We were asking about that stat. He delivers.
All over. That's Eddie Garrison with I Gotta Know. We come back on the Fan Morning Show. Go back to your calls, 317-239-1070. Get to those couple positives that we saw. We had a few tweets that we want to touch on as well. It's Kevin Bowen. It's Jimmy Cook. It's Eddie Garrison. Fan Morning Show.
Sundown Gardens Fall Open House is Saturday. Door prizes, giveaways, and specials. The Pumpkin Patch opens Saturday, too. See all the mums, trees, and shrubs, 186 in Spring Mill, sundown.gardens.com.
Hubler has cars. Shop all of your favorite brands in store or online with express car buying and instant upfront pricing. Visit drivehubler.com.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
The first bet on Caesars Sportsbook app is up to $5,000 risk-free, people. When I told my team about the idea, they said I was being too wonderful and magnificent. But I don't care how awesome this makes me. I'm doing this for the people. So just download the app, and that first bet is up to $5,000 risk-free. Caesar made an app for the people.
Must be 21. Offer valid in Indiana only and for new players. Paid in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, are you a single professional man looking for a life mate? If your do-it-yourself approach for finding her isn't getting you the results you want, why not hire a pro, like me, so you can take your game to a new level? I'm Amy Owens, singles coach and matchmaker. Maybe you've been looking for a while, or maybe you're newly divorced or widowed and haven't had a date in years, even decades. I can offer you tips, strategies, and introductions to some of Indy's finest single women. These ladies are active, attractive, fit, smart, accomplished, and financially self-sufficient. The only thing missing from their lives is the love and companionship of a good man. If that's you, please give me a call at 317-727-6331. That's 727-6331. Or check out my website, blueribbonsingles.com. Why Blue Ribbon Singles? Because it's the winners who get the blue ribbon.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Colts welcome the Los Angeles Rams to Lucas Oil Stadium. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan. It's The Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we got to run the ball.
We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there? We run it down.
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay, so
we will. All right, we're going to call pass plays.
With Kevin Bowen.
Boom, baby.
On 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Welcome back. Final hour of the Fan Morning Show. If you missed our interview with Jeff Saturday from earlier, great insight, as always, with him. He's going to join us every single Monday this year. We'll replay that around 9:40. Jimmy Cook in today, tomorrow, and Friday for the JCook. Thank you, Jimmy, for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Rotating them in. Greg Doyle, Mike Wells, Jimmy Cook so far. And, yeah, we'll have a few more through the rest of the month and early October as well.
KB, we talk about continuity all the time with the Colts. Do you feel a sense of lack of continuity for you, having to just make adjustments, different co-hosts all the time?
You know, in no way, shape, or form am I comparing myself to Andrew Luck, but I do feel like revolving centers that have been there. I won't say where you fall in the Samson Satele, Phil Costa line. I think you're Ryan Kelly, to be frank. You're a top 20 pick, a very talented player. Granted, not the Ryan Kelly that we saw yesterday. That's certainly not you. And that's probably what adds the frustration of yesterday, is it wasn't just Julian Davenport giving up those sacks. That expensive Colts offensive line did not play to that level. You were talking earlier about Wentz and describing his performance as fine. I'm a little bit above fine, and I'm at fault for this as well, Jimmy, but like at times I forget how bad Carson Wentz was at football last season. So yesterday Wentz had a passer rating of 102. Now, I think if you're a casual NFL fan, passer rating, you're like, oh, anything in the hundreds is pretty good. Russell Wilson had a passer rating of 152.3, by the way, second highest of his career. So for any of those that are trying to sit here and tell me that, the defense wasn't the issue. Okay. Carson Wentz passer rating of 102 yesterday. That was slightly above average for the rest of the NFL, if you look at the starting quarterbacks yesterday. But how about this, Jimmy? That was his highest passer rating since December 2019. Like, that dude didn't have one game last year. Again, his passer rating yesterday compared to the rest of the NFL was like 13th best or something like that, 14th best. So you're telling me last year he didn't have one single game where he was considered the 9th best quarterback on that given Sunday, or the 10th best quarterback? Like, it is crazy how poorly he played last year. So I feel like he walks out of a game with no interceptions, decent completion percentage, managed things okay without help from the O-line and run game. If all you cared about yesterday was the play of Carson Wentz, you feel okay.
I agree with that. And fine was my bar. Fine is about where he was. I didn't really learn enough yesterday to be able to know, and you shouldn't after one game, right? Whether or not that Colts made the right move here, whether or not the investment's going to pay off, whether or not he's ever going to get back to what Colts fans hope he will, which is the numbers that he put up at the height of his success in Philadelphia when Reich was still there. However, what I did learn, if I'm being knee-jerky and I'm looking at it after one game, is that even if the O-line plays fine, let's ignore that for a second, if the defense is going to collapse and the O-line is going to play fair to struggle like they did yesterday, one game ahead has not proven that he's going to be able to raise the team above that and carry the team to a win.
And again, I just don't think that's where the expectations should be for the Colts. I think the expectations are can you get Wentz to 2018, 2019 wins? Not 2017. 2017 was MVP with Reich. If you get to 2018, 2019, above average quarterback in the NFL, and support him, you can win a division. You can get into January. Now, once you get into January, and you know this more than anyone, that's when the right arm of your quarterback, or I guess left, has got to be damn good.
Look, I've seen both sides. I've seen teams walk in. I've rooted for teams that have walked in with subpar quarterback play, and I've seen teams come in with top-tier quarterback play and exceed expectations and get where you want to go. But Wentz still fell short, to me, of that. He's not even there yet, but it's fine. I'm being overcritical. I know I am. But the 2018, 2019 levels that you want, that maybe the more reasonable expectations for him are, he still wasn't there yesterday. He was fine.
Yeah. Yes, fine. Again, I don't.
It's a building block, right?
I don't want to act like I'm
I know you aren't
putting him on the side of Lucas Oil Stadium after that game. But like, if I'm giving him a letter grade, considering the O-line, considering the run game, B-. B.
It's a good foundation start.
You're giving him a C, which is fine.
Wherever your curve was, he didn't underperform by any means, which is a good start. I mean, that's fine.
It's interesting to me. We've got two kind of different viewpoints here on Twitter about Wentz. SW says, you could have performed like Wentz checking down to running backs every other play. His QBR was all smoke and mirrors. And Corey says, how could you even have a chance to know anything about Wentz? He literally got the crap kicked out of him.
His QBR was dreadful.
When he had time, he looked good.
I think he means passer rating.
Passer rating, but, yeah. Not to get too deep in the woods there on those ratings.
Right.
But, yeah, Ryan Kelly had a quote after the game, Corey, where he's like, well, he showed his toughness, and when he shows his toughness, that's usually not a good sign for the offensive line. Like, that was maybe the biggest takeaway I had is like, oh, wow, Carson Wentz can take some violent hits and keep on getting back up from them.
I've been asking for these all day, and I've yet to get one that focuses on this subject. So please, 317-239-1070 is the number. Where are your expectations for the Colts going into the opener? Where are they now? Because I got to be honest with you, this is an unbiased person. So is KB, but like I'm not a Colts fan, right? I support the city, but I'm not blinded by that like Colts fans can be.
No, you're blinded by your Chiefs
I am.
fandom.
You're right. I definitely am. I see 0-2 next Sunday. So where's your mindset at, knowing that what a lot of us predicted, these first 5 games are outlandishly tough. And I'm not surprised where they're at. I am surprised by how they got there, with the O-line struggling, with the defense giving up the big plays. But I'm not stunned that we're 0-1, and I'm not going to be surprised when they're 0-2 next week.
To the other point that SW made about too many checkdowns, I agree with that, and I put some of that on Reich. I just feel like they didn't let Carson
cupcake
go. Yeah, you got to just kind of you can't be a driver's ed teacher
here. Got to take off the
here.
training wheels, KB.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go. I always think back to this story where I'm getting ready for my driver's ed test, and my mom's like, all right, let's parallel park, but let's find a place where there's no cars around. I'm like, Mom, that's not what they're going to do when the test comes around. Like, you just got to let them go a little bit.
The abandoned Kmart's where they take you, KB.
Right,
just drive around some cones.
Yeah,
You're fine.
Here's Target. Let's go there. David emailed in about Wentz and said, Saw a stat that Carson Wentz was hit 10 times yesterday. That's more than any game last season for Wentz. I don't know if that's 100% true. I think it's close to being true. I think he might have had one game where he got hit more in Philly. But that maybe stands out to me more than anything, Jimmy. We're talking about, like, comparing how many times Carson Wentz was hit yesterday to Phillip Rivers is unfair because they get rid of the ball, very, very differently. But you go back to his Philly O-line, and you're saying he was hit 10 times yesterday, and he dropped back 41 times. It's not like he dropped back as many times as Dak Prescott or Tom Brady the other night. And for him to face a D-line that I don't think we look at it as like, whatever, Tampa or the Rams D-line or anything like that, that is what is particularly concerning in that you really didn't give Wentz a chance to hit on many things vertically either.
Man, there's nothing like investing in that brand new flat screen TV and you turn it on and they're just a black line right down the middle of the screen. You're like, what? All right, I guess I'm going back to Best Buy now. Got to swap it. That was the Colts O-line yesterday, right? Any analogy you want to use. New car you bought, it stalls out. Not what you wanted to see. That's tough. Because you're right. That's not what you would expect that type of career high mark to be set with how much money was invested in the O-line. We talked to Jeff Saturday about it a little bit earlier. That's going to be re-aired here in a little bit at the bottom of the hour. But he mentioned that it is continuity. It is, to some extent, not just communication, but I asked him that lack of reps. And on top of that, for Wentz, not just the O-line, but those struggles and maybe the cupcake stuff, the training wheels, that's what the preseason is for. He was kind of robbed of that with the injury and getting on the COVID list. You saw that week one. I hope it gets better.
He's Jimmy Cook. I'm Kevin Bowen. You're listening to the Fan Morning Show. We are here in the DriveHubler.com studios. Let's go to Joe on line one. I think he wants to address what you were asking for earlier, Jimmy. What's up, Joe?
What up, Joe?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'd be better if we'd played better today or yesterday.
Amen to that.
I mean, honestly, you guys wanted to know what we think. I think that I saw the same thing yesterday that I saw last year from the Colts at the beginning of the season. Very slow start. They looked discombobulated. They didn't seem like they played well together. They straightened it out last year. My guess is they'll straighten it out this year. I think that with the difficulty of the schedule, it may be much more difficult for them to adjust and still make the playoffs. But the Texans had a better day than the Jags, and the Titans didn't have a good day, so maybe we got lucky. I think we're going to see the same problems in the Los Angeles game that we saw in this game. And I think that the defensive line looked like they hadn't played together, and they didn't in preseason, and I think that's on the coaches. And I think the offensive line didn't play together. That's on injuries and problems. But I agree with what Jeff Saturday said earlier, that they just haven't played together well. And I think the coaching was horrible. I think of all the things that disappointed me was how ill-prepared the coaching staff was and how poorly they called the game throughout the entire process. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Marlon Mack out on that field because every time we ran inside, we had difficulty. And Marlon Mack's a good outside runner. We never saw him. And while I like Nyheim Hines, I don't think he's the runner that Mack is. So I'll hang up and let you guys talk.
I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you for giving us a ring. Something that I thought about when I came on with you guys on Friday, Jimmy, was, Dan said, when your owner, someone of that authority, speaks out so much about this, your entire organization hears that, feels that, and their preparations ramp up and their intensity ramps up. Oh, boy. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of that transfer over to the product on the field yesterday. And Joe brings up several good points there. Will the Colts turn this around? Yeah. I God bless the AFC South. I mean, yeah, I don't know where you send money to, but God bless the AFC South.
There's a foundation somewhere for the AFC
somewhere,
South.
Right. Deshaun Watson.
10 cents a day to help the career of Trevor Lawrence get off to a better start.
Deshaun Watson and the massage, crew, but what? I mean, like the fact that you're in this division and there's 7 playoff teams, you better make the playoffs. Like, that has got to be, I go back to what I said earlier, the extensions you gave these guys, the expectations are through the roof, as they should be when you hand out those extensions. Do I think they will get in the playoffs? I do. I still do. I had them losing yesterday. I didn't have them maybe dominated, to the point that they got dominated, but I thought they would lose. And for the most part, this team has responded really well under Frank Reich, and I do think we should note that. Granted, the opposition next week is arguably, one of the top 2 or 3 favorites in the NFL. I think that you're continuing playing with fire is what worries me. Yes, last year the easiest schedule in the NFL. This year's not. Look at the schedule. It is a very difficult schedule, and that is what is concerning because do you have some injuries right now? Yeah, you have a couple. Do you have major season-ending injuries? No. Did Carson Wentz play yesterday? Yes. I don't think we expect Carson Wentz to play all 17 games. That is what is concerning, Jimmy, of when do those things inevitably start to pile up?
I had them at 8-9 on Friday. Me and Dan went through our predictions. I started 10-7 when the schedule was released, stayed there for most of the offseason until Carson Wentz got hurt, dropped, I think, 9-8, then closed at 8-9 on Friday. KB, that still might win the South. I think this might be a year where sub 500 wins the South. I know it's 1 week in, but everybody has that same mixture of in terms of the way the NFL designs a schedule. At some point, the Titans are going to have to face the Seahawks on the calendar year. It's going to happen.
Next week, I'm pretty sure.
There you go. So I really think that...
But, is that the barometer? Oh, yeah, let's be a 500 team and win the division. The expectation should be try and get a home game, if not multiple home games, and do some damage in January. And if you're a team that, gets in because you're in the easy division like the Washington football team did last year in the NFC East, that's not some ringing endorsement of your product.
It's not, but to get that home game, the easiest step to do it and the automatic step to do that is to win the division. Yeah. So, that's at least a minor bright spot is everybody else, except for the Texans, is in the same driver's seat as yourself in the AFC South. Shouts to Kyler Murray. That show is for real, tearing up Tennessee yesterday. I was very impressed to see that.
I love watching the Cardinals play. Jeffrey says, I would agree with the last caller about poor coaching. I thought Reich was awful yesterday. Not kicking the field goal late was dumb. I agree that Reich had several issues yesterday, but I stand by the going for it. Again, 10 minutes to go in the game. You need 2 scores. You're at the 20-ish yard line, and on your 5 previous possessions, you had gotten 1 first down. There was no guarantee you were going to have a better scoring opportunity than that. There's no guarantee you were going to stop Seattle.
Right.
Again, I think trying to punch that in would have been, to me, was the smartest move in that situation.
That's my bigger issue. If you want to say, they got to take the points. The smart thing to do there is take the points. Okay. Show me evidence from that game where you have faith the Colts defense is going to make another stop. Show it to me. Show me where confidence has been instilled as a coaching staff that, yeah, we can take the points here, 10 minutes to go in this game. We're going to get that stop. We're going to get the ball back.
I don't know if we'll have time to get to it today, Jimmy. It's something I definitely want to hit on tomorrow. Darius Leonard, Bobby Okereke. Ooh. Did you, on that 3rd and 1, Chris Carson scampering down the field, it was a concern entering the season. These linebackers in space, really good players. Leonard, obviously, a huge strip in that game. But when it gets a little messy, I've said it, you need those 2 to be dirty. Anthony Walker gave you a little bit of a dirty aspect to it. Those 2, again, I know Leonard had the splash play. You need more.
I can't speak as much to Okereke, but I did think that Leonard's second half was far better than his first because of how bad it was.
Yeah, he didn't have his first tackle until 4 minutes ago in the first half. And Will Dissly, or whatever his name is, the tight end, he threw Bobby Okereke right over to Revel, if it's still even a club. I don't even know if Revel is a club, but yeah, he threw him there. Let's get to Mike. Mike's been hanging around. Mike's on line 2.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up, Mike?
Morning, Mike. Thanks.
Hey, just a question. So say that these guys are, and I might be jumping ahead. I actually am jumping ahead a little bit here. But say these guys was, to go, 4-13 or whatever, not have a great year, whether that's Wentz's fault or not. They have a top 5 pick in the draft. Where do they go? Are you going to go with a quarterback or are you trying to shore up your corner position?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of holes right now, like safety help. I thought Blackman was a steal of the draft last year, but he played like a 7th-round pick yesterday. So, where do you go or obviously you just got to let the season play out, apparently. But
right, and thank you for the call, Mike. I'm not going 4-13 here just yet. And then the other thing you have to factor in too is like if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the season, that first round pick is going to Philly, and so part of me is like, why entertain a 4-13 call after week 1? I think that's super overreaction Monday.
I will tolerate a lot in terms of where you want to be as a fan base after week 1. That's a talented Seattle team. Yeah. I don't want to hear what. So April. Like what?
Yeah,
where's where we targeting?
Are there long-term question marks on this football team? Yes. Yeah. Cornerback is one of them. You can make the argument left tackle. We'll see about Fisher. You can make the argument quarterback, although I thought yesterday was a fine debut for Carson Wentz. Yes, there are long-term questions, but Mike, I can't go there on September 13th. Let's get to John as well. What's up, John?
Good morning, guys.
Morning, John.
Thanks for calling, John.
Hey, I think a lot of people don't get it, man. Seattle's an elite team. Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers said it a few years back. Relax. I mean, even still, when you look at the Rams, Chicago ran all over them. So I don't think it's the end of the world. But I also know that a check down means the receivers downfield aren't open. So he has to check down. But if they can't protect this guy, man, he's not going to be able to do nothing.
John,
go ahead.
Yeah, John, I think the issue is just the style that you lost.
Yeah.
It was not some competitive back-and-forth game. And I know Tennessee got their ass kicked too. But it wasn't some, back-and-forth game where all this intensity, all this hype about the season opener and fans back in the building and the losing streak and all that. And yet, really, from the outset, it was back and forth a little bit early on, but Seattle controlled that game. I think that is what is particularly disappointing to fans, especially with your strengths. O-line and not giving up big plays. That costing you. Not Rock Yassin, not Carson Wentz. Your strengths cost you.
I agree. But
Thanks, John.
Russell knew that Rock was out there, though.
Yeah, Russell's incredible, man. I appreciate it, John, for calling in. All right, let's hit a Big O Tire Sports Center update again. We'll have the pop quiz next, and then Jeff Saturday to round things out.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
All right, the Colts will review the film today. Frank Reich will meet the media at about 4 o'clock. Frank Reich usually not too blunt after games, but his Will linebacker, number 53, was very blunt. Here was Darius Leonard afterwards on the loss.
I got our kicked, especially in the first half. We didn't do enough, and then second half made some adjustments. Kind of to get it going. We didn't have enough takeaways. If you want to win football games, you got to take the ball away, and we only have one, and we gotta make sure that we, get more takeaways. They had 2 turnovers. You count the fourth down. There's takeaways there. So we gotta be better there.
Needed more from your defensive stars in the first half, Jimmy. And for the game, just 5 tackles for Darius Leonard. Very small number for him.
You know who doesn't need to watch film to know that was a weak sauce effort for the most part yesterday? Darius Leonard.
Yeah, I didn't think Darius Leonard played particularly well, but I do appreciate his candor after the game and his honesty there on that front. He knows the standard, and we talked about it earlier. And honestly, this is kind of our last caller, John. I believe it was John who called in. Jimmy, it's how yesterday looked. Not necessarily the result. You and I expected a loss, but it's how it unfolded. And again, Russell Wilson has played 145 games in his career. 145. Second best passer rating of his career. Second best of his career yesterday. Since when is that the standard?
Not if you want to go to the places that this regime claims they want to go. It's not. Can't be.
Good to elite. You bring back all these starters on defense.
But as you pointed out on Twitter, and I realized the same thing yesterday. It's more of the same from a year ago when you faced elite competition. It is a good thing that the rest of the South is struggling, but if your benchmark is to get to where the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens are, you got a long way to go.
NFC West goes undefeated yesterday. NFC North does not win a single game. Jimmy's Chiefs won a thriller yesterday. That was just fun to watch. I know Jimmy wants me to, go all, whatever about his Kansas City
It's okay.
Chiefs.
I'll do it. I love Patrick Mahomes on my team, KB. big time. Only reason they came back in that game was because of Patrick Mahomes and because the Browns themselves.
Yeah, they did late, but I do think the Cleveland Browns are going to be there late in the season. I don't know what they're doing in January, but as much as I made fun of Mike Wells for that pick last week, they look better than my Bills looked in week 1. Chandler Jones, welcome back. 5 sacks yesterday against the Tennessee Titans. They rolled in Nashville, and I'm pretty sure now Tennessee goes to Seattle. Eddie, if you can look that up to make sure I have that right, pretty sure Tennessee is at Seattle in week 2, so a big game there for the Titans before they host the Colts.
How does Tennessee work on the West time zone? We have a big stat for that.
Yeah,
I put up the Seahawks continuing their Eastern time zone dominance.
I was gonna say I try to warn people. It's such an easy thing. I'm like, have you seen Russell Wilson's stats? What is it? Is it out there?
Yeah, they're in Seattle, Tennessee.
I would not want to be the first team to play against the 12th man out there.
No,
first time they're having fans in nearly 2 years. Electric in Seattle for sure.
It was a fun environment in LA last night for their first time welcoming fans into that monstrosity of a venue. And Matthew Stafford 3 touchdowns, 34-14 over the Bears.
You mentioned it as well, though. Give credit to the Colts fans. Electric here at Lucas Oil from the jump yesterday.
Definitely. Yeah, very good environment inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll see how rowdy it is next week because it's quite the challenge. Aaron Donald, just 1 sack late in the game for Aaron Donald there. Tonight, if you need help on Monday Night Football, Ravens -4.5 in Vegas. I can't wait to see that on Monday Night Football. And you got Peyton Manning and Eli. That's, I believe, ESPN2.
And ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus as well. So Peyton and Eli will be on the deuce tonight. College football, Purdue rolls over UConn 49-0. UConn just stinks. And George Karlaftis, he's got to love watching Notre Dame's offensive line on film. That's going to be one to watch this Saturday, 2:30. in South Bend.
Yeah, another score to report here in the MS 2021 Fantasy Football League. AFC Richmond Greyhounds, led by manager JCook, on top of Team Bowen, 107.18 to 71.1. Owner Cook was quoted saying he's hoping for a lackluster performance tonight from Lamar Jackson to get that Week 1 W.
I was going to say, I don't know why you would say the score when it's not even over.
I know. I'm worried, man. I am.
Boy, I can't wait.
Big trust.
Can't wait for Lamar Jackson to hear that and have some motivation. IU steamrolls the Vandals 56-14. They will host Cincinnati noon on Saturday. Other college football, Oregon, just really the win of the week. And honestly, one of the best wins the Pac-12 has had in years, going into Columbus, beating Ohio State there. I mean, you got to say it, Oregon's in a driver's seat right now for a playoff berth.
Pac-12, alive and well.
I honestly think it's, and hey, a West Coast team going to the Eastern time zone didn't seem to affect them. 9 a.m. local time for the Ducks in that one. Oregon just thrashes Texas. Stanford, 17.5-point underdog, and they beat USC 42-13 in the Coliseum. Anything else stand out to you, Jimmy, from the weekend? Reds lose another series. Them and the Padres continue to just look like a team that neither of them want the final wildcard spot. Cardinals are now only a game back. Phillies are 2.5 back. And the Mets are 3 back. Your Yankees lose to the Mets in a wild one.
Yeah, it was great.
Home runs.
A lot of chatter, a lot of smack talking for two teams that probably won't make the postseason in October. So it was fun at least to have some Broadway spectacle for those two lackluster ball clubs.
Blue Jays put up 22 on the Orioles.
It's amazing that you're supposed to beat the teams that are bad. Who knew?
Yes.
Who knew? Yankees can't do that, but the Blue Jays, meanwhile, put up 22.
Reds can't either.
Yeah, I was going to say, joining the club here. Alex Palou wins his 3rd IndyCar race of the year. Won it from the pole. He definitely did not lead throughout, but wins in Portland and now retakes the point lead. He is up 25 on Pato O'Ward, who finished 14th. Alexander Rossi, Scott Dixon were 2nd and 3rd. Joseph Newgarden is 34 points back. Scott Dixon is 49 points back with 2 races to go. We come back here on the Fan Morning Show. It's pop quiz time, and then Jeff Saturday gonna join us to round things out here. Kevin Bowe and Jimmy Cook on the Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Hurry into your local Big O Tires and save up to $190 off a set of Michelin tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Your Indianapolis Indians are home this week as they take on the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Enjoy discounted beers this Thursday, fireworks on Friday, and an 8-bit Indians hat giveaway on Saturday. Get your tickets today at IndyIndians.com.
This is Unibet, one of Europe's leading betting apps. And this is Nigel.
Hello.
Nigel has just been promoted from head of Unibet Europe to head of Unibet US. Nigel doesn't know anything about American sports.
QB Scramble. That's some sort of American frittata?
Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Get $500 risk-free and take advantage of the odds. Before Nigel figures them out. Unibet. Crazy about the odds.
Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
PNC Bank believes that if your smartwatch can help you avoid overdoing it during a workout, then your bank should be able to help you avoid an overdraft fee. Introducing Low Cash Mode, available with Virtual Wallet, the financial watch-out that gives you advance warning, multiple options, and at least 24 hours of extra time to help avoid an overdraft fee. Because we believe how you handle overdrafts should be in your control, not just your bank's. And now through October 12th, earn up to $300 when you open and use a select new Virtual Wallet product. Simply establish a qualifying direct deposit. To learn more, visit a branch or pnc.com/checking offer. Virtual Wallet with Low Cash Mode from PNC Bank. One way we're making a difference. Low Cash Mode is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Incorporated. Virtual Wallet is a registered trademark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Incorporated. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters, from frozen pipes and sewer backups to your teenager pleading ignorance on the proper use of a plunger. At Michaelis, they know that water damage waits for no one. Their fleet of trucks is, well, fleet. Over 3 decades of finding the source of the problem, then cleaning up, drying out, and restoring your home or business to better than new condition. That's Michaelis, fully licensed and insured, and fully empathetic to your anxiety, including dealing with insurance claims. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
There's Pablo in his natural habitat, opening his internet bill in fear. He just saw his 12-month promotional price ended. Uh-oh, and he just discovered the equipment fees. Back away slowly.
If your internet bill drives you wild, just remember, you're not a bad person. You just need a straightforward price. Get AT&T Fiber. Unlimited internet with no price increase at 12 months. Visit att.com/no hidden fees. Limited availability in select areas.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
We got Steve Rabel, the voice of the Seahawks, on. Steve, your sense, just how good is Russell Wilson?
It's kind of scary, Dan, and one of the reasons I say that is because we're so used to seeing his excellence that you just expect it. You know, it obviously behooves this football team. As long as number 3 is standing straight up in the backfield and is not sitting on the sidelines or under the injury tent, this team has a chance to win.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Fan Morning Show's Pop Quiz with Kevin Bowen. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
All right, it's Pop Quiz time on the Fan Morning Show. Jeff Saturday going to join us in about 10 minutes. Jimmy Cook, I need a number 1 through 8.
7.
7. Who we got, Eddie?
Tom.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
How you feeling?
Doing fine. Hang on a second here. Okay, now I'm fine.
Okay, you good? We getting you on Bluetooth, or were you getting up Google? What were you doing there?
I was getting off speaker.
Smart. All right.
I'm not Googling.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to ask, just wanted to clarify some things. Tom, question number 1. Here we go. The Colts losing streak in season openers up to 8 in a row. The last team the Colts beat on opening day was the Oakland Raiders in 2013. Who was the Raiders QB in that game? A, Matt Flynn. B, Carson Palmer. C, Terrell Pryor. D, Derek Carr.
Terrell Pryor.
Good start, Tom.
All right, Tom, the Chiefs came from behind to beat the Browns yesterday in KC. Patrick Mahomes improved to 11-0 in September for his career. He has thrown 35 touchdown passes in the month of September. How many interceptions has he thrown in September? A, 0, B, 1, C, 2, D, 4.
Oh, 0.
Okay. All right. Number 3. Who won yesterday's U.S. Open men's singles final? Novak Djokovic, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Alexander Zverev, or Daniil Medvedev?
Daniil Medvedev.
Folks, Scotty's pacing in the studio. Jimmy Cook, question number 4.
Jameis Winston threw 5 touchdown passes and no interceptions as the Saints blew out Green Bay yesterday in Jacksonville. Who was the last quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns with no picks in his first game with a new team? A, Joe Kapp, B, Lamar Jackson, C, Matt Flynn, D, Winston is the first.
Jameis.
Oh my gosh. Number 5, Max Scherzer became the 19th pitcher in Major League history to reach 3,000 strikeouts for his career yesterday. Scherzer reached the mark after pitching in 404 Major League games, the second fastest to 3,000 Ks in history in terms of games pitched. Name the pitcher who reached 3,000 in fewer games. Scotty,
Randy Johnson.
Say it again.
Randy Johnson.
Let's go, baby! Tom, that's our first winner since I've been taking over. All right, we got it. That's... Oh, my gosh, Tom.
Way to go, Tom.
Tom, if the Colts played with 1/10 of your effort yesterday, they'd be 1-0. All right, number 1, the Raiders QB in that game, he said?
Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor. Thank you, Tom. Patrick Mahomes, 35 touchdowns in the month of September. How many picks?
Mr. September does not throw picks, baby. 0.
The winner of the U.S. Open men's singles final, stopping Novak Djokovic's chance at a perfect Grand Slam season. It was...
Daniil Medvedev, straight sets, man.
6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Scotty went to one of his go-tos.
The slider.
It was the last quarterback to throw 5 TDs with no picks in his first games with a new team. Jameis Winston was the first.
The backdoor slider by Scotty.
And how about this by Tom? Tom, literally, Russell Wilson yesterday, that was Tom today. He didn't even need the multiple choice. I wasn't going to give him the multiple choice after a perfect 4 for 4. The pitcher who reached 3,000 strikeouts in fewer games than Max Scherzer.
Randy Johnson. And Tom, just for a bonus point for the fun of it, because I'm not going to know this, I don't expect you to either. You know how many games he did it in?
Oh, gosh.
There's nothing on the line. I just want to know. This guy's on fire.
Yeah, I am on fire. It's like 2,540 games or something like that.
Oh, no. Nowhere close. We probably should have stopped there.
I probably misworded it. It's all right.
362 games for Randy Johnson. Scherzer was 404 games. Tom, that is a
I meant innings. Sorry.
Oh.
That would probably...
Yeah, I would have to get out my calculator. It seems like it'd be a lot more than that.
I'll say it tracks.
Tom, incredible performance. Stay on the phone lines. You are winning the Jiffy Lube prize pack. Beautiful.
Way to go, Tom.
I think we all needed that. We all needed that after yesterday. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. It is going to be Jeff Saturday to close things out.
For 20 years, our brave service members have been fighting the fight over in Afghanistan to keep us safe here in the U.S. As our troops are coming home, every business should be finding ways to thank and honor them for their service. We created the Hero Loan. We pay for your appraisal, secure you a mortgage rate up to a full point lower than other loans, and work our tails off to get your VA loan closed in as little as 14 days. HeroLoan.com, the only way to VA.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Who is running your business anyway? You may ask yourself this sometimes as the owner of a business or partner in a practice group. Take your internet and phone service. You've pivoted to do more business virtually. But when dealing with the hiccups that come with that, your managed service provider puts the burden on you, saying,
check your gateway and firewall.
Frustrated, you say that's what you need them for. But what you get back is,
okay. Put in a ticket and I'll get back to you next week.
Maybe it's time to get control.
This is Troy Brasso, owner of Teltech Business. There's no consultant double talk or call center runaround with Teltech Business. We specialize in premium business internet and voice over IP for Central Indiana companies like Skill Corporation and Tempe CPAs, and often at a price that's much less than what you're paying now. Give us a try.
Take control and start saving today. Let local professionals help you with your business, internet, and VoIP needs. Call Teltech Business for a free review today at 317-390-8585.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. That's online. MarkDietel.com. Mark, DIETEL.com. Today, I know Mark, he is going to work hard and get the job done right for you. Great example here. Dennis and Cindy from Plainfield. They needed to sell their home, and the goal was not to just sell it fast, but get the most money possible. That's exactly what Mark Dietel did for them. In fact, Mark will promise you multiple offers in 3 days, or he will sell it for free. It's Mark Dietel, the only real estate agent I will trust. You should too. That number, 317-755-4232, 317-755-4232, online, markdietel.com. That's MarkDietel.com today.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/Greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. Call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
Get Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss breakfast croissant for $1.99. This hot buttery croissant is fluffy enough to sleep on. Wakey, wakey, get a better breakfast for just $1.99. Only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Third-party delivery prices may vary. Not following the combo.
Good news, Indy.
If competitive compensation, consistent schedules, and multiple career paths all matter to you, it's time to apply for a career with Geico. Geico is hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me.
It's The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowe on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's Kevin Bowe and Jimmy Cook on The Fan Morning Show. Thanks for tuning in on this Overreaction Monday. It was a pitiful performance by the Colts yesterday, losing 28-16. The Seattle Seahawks, and like we have for the past few years and will continue, courtesy of More Restoration. Now, First On Site, new names, same great people. Jeff Saturday, the Colts great, joins us now on the Payless Liquors hotline. Jeff, as a former offensive lineman, I am going to assume you might have had a few choice words watching that game yesterday.
Yeah, definitely not a pretty one. Not the way you want to come out of the gates, right? Kind of stumbling around yourself and. Listen, man, football is situational, and in the moments where our O-line needed to step up and play their best, we did not. We didn't convert on 3rd and 3. We didn't convert on 4th and 1. You just when you have opportunities to make plays and you don't do them, and that's considered the strength of your team. That's problems. And so I know they'll go back to the drawing board and. Figure this thing out, but definitely not one of the better performances from our guys.
Jeff, it's Jimmy. How much of that, in terms of the O-line, would you credit to lack of reps, lack of quality minutes within the preseason?
A lot. I mean, listen, and here's a guy. I'm a guy. I mean, I was not a huge fan of preseason. Don't get me wrong, but when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about preseason games. The issue for us was it wasn't just not playing in preseason games. There's no practice reps. You know what I mean? You had Ryan being out with his injury, then Q with his injury, right? And so you don't get any timing. Then we kind of got a rotating carousel at left tackle during camp, and so it just didn't look. It did not look oiled, and I think people don't realize how important reps are for offensive linemen. No different than Wentz and the other receivers, and why their timing, and it looked like he was hesitating at times because they're just, they're not accustomed to being with each other. Well, offensive line are the same way. When there's games and when there's different things happening on the outside, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to pass them off. And we just did not do that in that area of the game.
It's Jeff Saturday here on the Fan Morning Show. He'll be with us all season long, Monday's recap and Colts games. And Jeff, I want to hit a little bit more kind of the nitty-gritty of the O-line, the pass protection. Frank Reich mentioned after the game yesterday, and Carson even said this as well, that he felt like it was a little bit more of miscommunication and not just the O-line losing a bunch of one-on-one battles. From my amateur eye, I'd probably disagree with that. But I guess how much for you guys was it on you or Peyton handling pass protection calls versus I feel like with Reich, it's really squarely on the quarterback who is handling all of that at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so there's a blend, right? And I think I think this goes back when you're talking about communication. I agree with you. Like Smith got trucked on the fourth down. I think we were inside in the fourth quarter. I believe we were inside there, maybe they're 20 or something, and he got beat one-on-one. Davenport got beat a few times, so I'm with you. I'm not sure I buy in all the way on the communication part. Like we had some one-on-ones that got ugly. Glow, I know, had one on the inside. There was a lot. I mean, let's be honest. None of the five played well, and they'll admit that. But the communication part, I think, for me, goes really to the position of quarterback and center. So Peyton always knew what the calls were going to be, but I knew what he wanted, right? So we had spent so much time pre-game throughout the week, the days leading up, that when I walked to the line of scrimmage, if we had a certain protection, there wouldn't be a need for a new mic because I would make the mic the guy that I knew he wanted anyway. So even if it wasn't positionally who we would normally make a mic, if it had to be the Will or the Sam, or there was a walk down safety, some guy like Adams who we had to keep, or from yesterday, or Palomalu in my day with Pittsburgh, you would find a guy. That's the communication that I think you missed in preseason, right? With Wentz being out and Q being out and Kelly being out. Man, there's a lot that goes into that. And I think, again, when you talk about communication, it should not be all on the quarterback. He's got enough going on. Safety rotation, guys moving around. Like the center has to be able to get that communicated to the guards and then out from there. It should not be that difficult. It wasn't like what Seattle did was a super confusing, oh my word, give you all kinds of headaches. It was pretty straightforward. And so the communication part, though, has to be worked on just because they haven't spent time together. And listen, as much as it helps to be in a classroom, it also needs to be some field reps, man, where you see it, call it, and then trust your center. He's going to get you in the right call, or that your quarterback's going to new mic you for a good reason, and you're all going to sail from there. But yeah, yesterday was not clean as you would want it from either position, quarterback nor offensive line in the protection area.
Last thing O-line from me, Jeff, was how much, and again, I think you'd be the first to admit you weren't blocking for Michael Vick back there in your time here in Indy, but how much is it like the Colts are realizing, oh, wow, it's not Phillip Rivers confined in the pocket, boom, 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 he's getting it out super quick. Like Wentz does hold on to it a little bit longer. Does that play into anything up front?
Absolutely, 100%. Listen, I mean, it was an adjustment for me when I went to Green Bay. I mean, we with Aaron, it was not the same as Peyton, right? It wasn't just timing. There were a ton of opportunities where they actually wanted you to get into the scramble drill. I mean, I remember Mike McCarthy, we would practice scramble drill like in a period of practice, which means, you would snap the ball and the play for you, even though you're blocking, he would blow another horn, and that would tell you you're about to block for another 4 seconds. That was kind of, and in that 4 seconds, that's when Aaron was scrambling around and going to make plays. So there's definitely an adjustment from, guys who want to get around or move out of the pocket as opposed to get the ball out on time. But listen, that being said, we also knew there's also a method to the madness. It's not like you just go crazy and start moving around as a quarterback. Like, there are certain plays where he's going to move more to his right or move more to his left, right in his role, because that's where it's going to buy him time and where the receivers are going to be. So you still had some idea which direction you would think he would be going, but there's definitely a different process when you have guys who want to get outside the pocket as opposed to just delivering the ball on time.
Jeff Saturday joining us here on the Fan Morning Show. You can follow him on Twitter at SaturdayJeff. Jeff, my last question on the O-line to kind of piggyback off what KB was going after there, but focusing on the left tackle. This O-line isn't viewed as porous as, let's say, the Chiefs was a year ago in the Super Bowl in shambles without Eric Fisher. How much will his eventual return help things, or will you be dealing with continuity issues since he's still trying to familiarize himself with real game action for the first time in 8 to 10 months?
No, I think he'll be a huge upgrade. Listen, just from a one-on-one perspective. To y'all's point, it's not all communication. Listen, I watched the tape again this morning. Now there's some one-on-ones we're missing. We're losing. Our pad level's high. We're getting pushed. You saw Smith get, who is a very good player and a very strong player, and he gets run over. And quarterback's got. I don't care how good you are. The quarterback's got no chance. I think Fisher being over there, just understanding pass sets, feeling more comfortable about running a guy around the rail, sitting on his inside. He's played a lot of football, and so I think his margin for error will be higher just because he's been at that position. He understands what the battle looks like out there, and with he and Q playing side by side, I think it'll be a quick kind of adaptation in, or he'll find his way pretty quickly. So I don't think there'll be a ton of communication issues because he played with a similar quarterback, obviously, in Kansas City with the movement of Patrick Mahomes. He'll backpedal, dude, 15 yards and then let it rip or get outside the pocket. So I think for Fisher, it will be an upgrade for us for sure.
Courtesy of More Restorations, Jeff Saturday here on the Fan Morning Show. Jeff, thoughts on Carson Wentz, considering all the time he missed training camp, preseason, of course, his Colts debut. How would you grade it?
Yeah, okay, right? Again, I think the timing. I thought he held. I thought he held it some. He didn't see it great. The ball didn't come out. But again, I didn't expect different because of all the time he missed. I think my expectations were that he would play about like he did. I think he'll be good for us. I really do. I'm one of those guys who believes that he's going to get better. Our football team will be better with him as the season progresses. It's going to take time, but man, I think this is one part that I would tell every fan. It's disrespectful to the game of football to believe that you can miss all this time and it just comes back, right? There's a reason. I know everybody laughs about the Iverson quote about practice, but practice does matter for us. You have 11 guys who have to play together, and if 10 do a great job and one, just stinks, the play is bad. There's no getting around this. You know what I mean? And so practice matters, being together matters, being out on the field, taking live, all that stuff matters. And so, I was happy with the way Wentz was not the reason we didn't win. You know what I mean? So I think he will be better for our football team. And again, we'll get this thing back on track. And man, listen, we played a good team. Seattle is not a freaking scrub team, right? This is a 12-4 group that won out there last season and got banged up towards the end of the year. But this is a good football team, man. So let's not act like we went out there and got beat by the Jags, or right off the jumper the Texans. We got beat by a good football team who deserved to win. They played well and they made big plays against our defense when it mattered. So let's give some credit to the other side as well.
Yeah, that NFC West. Oh boy, that is a grown man's division out there. Jeff, just a couple more with you. That's now 8 straight season openers the Colts have lost, and I want to say it's 12 of 13. Obviously, that spans multiple regimes, coaches, GMs, all that. When does that no longer become a coincidence?
Man, you know what? That's a great point. I have never heard. I did not know that. So, yeah, man, that is not a pretty thing. I mean, you think about being prepared for week one, but again, I think every year's a little bit different. And this is a strange one, man. You had all your best guys on offense, and here's the other thing. You know, I'm not sure why this happened, but I was shocked yesterday at the big plays. Like, our defense usually does a pretty good job. But Lockett having the two, you know, the Metcalf's not really a big play. But when you looked at our defense, you take out two plays, and it's really a completely different game. But I was a little surprised. You know, look, Lockett stuck Wilson in the ground. It was an incredible route, and he's wide open. But man, we can't give those things up. So I think again, man, we gotta come back to the drawing board, get this thing going, and hope to play better next week.
Jeff, I think you're exactly right. This wasn't a pushover team. Like, this is a top-tier team in the NFC. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I laid the 3 yesterday on Seattle, so like I was comfortable with where things were at. However, this O-line and the question marks behind it, there is another real legitimate threat and one of the top pass rushers in all of football, and Aaron Donald next. How do you get confidence instilled back as a fan base and as a coaching staff, knowing that that's what awaits the next test for this offensive line that definitely failed its first go around in week one?
Yeah, you better be juiced, right? Like you watched them last night, man. You better be juiced. The offensive line, you know, for last week and this week, like this is, you know, as a young player, this is how you put yourself on the map. Like go produce against this. I think, you know, it'll always be exciting to watch Nelson and Donald go at it, man. That'll be a ton of fun, or Kelly and Donald, like however that's going to look. I'm excited about that as well. But this group, they got to lay it out here. I mean, like when you say you're one of the best in the league and you want to be a top 5 offensive line and all the things that implies, when you go face the best, you got to wire them up, man, and put some dudes up on the peg and give Wentz some time and let him make some plays because they're there. But you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to know where Ramsey is. You got to know, you know, there's going to be the same kind of thing that Adams was last week. You know, they kind of have that going for the Rams now as well. That, you know, they're moving him around, and Raheem Morris, you know, their defensive coordinator does a good job, like finding mismatches. So this offensive line's got their work cut out for them, man. Like, but this, again, to your point, this is how you show the league and everybody. This is what, you know, this is the foundation of our football team, is this offensive line. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to see how these guys play next week.
That's a great Jeff Saturday right there on the Fan Morning Show. Terrific insight, and honestly, no one better to have on after a debacle like yesterday in the trenches. One thing I'm curious too today, Jimmy, is how do you think Carson Wentz is feeling this morning? I mean, that dude took some hits, big hits. I know he got up from him, but a few times you go back and watch those replays, and just a little wince here and there, and no pun intended, obviously.
I hope he iced up yesterday, KB, because it's not going to get any easier until you get stability behind that O-line. Their next test isn't going to be any easier next Sunday with Aaron Donald coming into town.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into the O-line tomorrow. Again, like Jimmy said, Aaron Donald and the Rams, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Eric Fisher practiced 3 times last week, limited every single day. You got to think he practices full at some point this week, and then we'll see where he's at. And then obviously Xavier Rhodes coming off the calf injury. Boy, you watched the Rams last night. Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods. I mean, that's a pretty balanced big 3. So it's going to be a major test on Sunday again.
Stafford versus Wentz. There we go.
I was going to say, that is a juicy matchup. He's Jimmy Cook. I'm Kevin Bone. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you missed Jeff Saturday, Eddie will have the podcast up here in a bit. Thanks for listening to the Fan Morning Show on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Mortgage rates drop again, creating opportunities for refinancing everywhere. How much can you save? Let's find out now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Listen this Wednesday at 7:05 p.m. right here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan for Inside IU Football with Tom Allen.
Hubler has cars. Shop all of your favorite brands in store or online with express car buying and instant upfront pricing. Visit drivehubler.com.
Hey, are you a single professional man looking for a life mate? If your do-it-yourself approach for finding her isn't getting you the results you want, why not hire a pro, like me, so you can take your game to a new level? I'm Amy Owens, singles coach and matchmaker. Maybe you've been looking for a while, or maybe you're newly divorced or widowed and haven't had a date in years, even decades. I can offer you tips, strategies, and introductions to some of Indy's finest single women. These ladies are active, attractive, fit, smart, accomplished, and financially self-sufficient. The only thing missing from their lives is the love and companionship of a good man. If that's you, please give me a call at 317-727-6331. That's 727-6331. Or check out my website, blueribbonsingles.com. Why Blue Ribbon Singles? Because it's the winners who get the blue ribbon.
Week 1 may be over, but the season's just getting started at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off Week 2, DraftKings is giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Listen up. Bet just $1 on any football game this week and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new customers $200 in free bets instantly when they bet at least $1 on any football game. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code WFNI to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That's code WFNI this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only, new customer only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, 800-9-WITH-IT.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Dan Dockage here. Join me today. Sean Salisbury and I are going to break down the entire weekend of NFL football, including the Colts game. Here we go. Join me at noon.
This is SportsCenter.